Process. Here comes Rubalcaba. Rubalcaba dribbling to the center. Rubalcaba! Haley dribbles her way through the player. Now serves across towards the far post. Arriving Cailin! Goal! Manoliliua at the edge of the 18. Touches it onto her right. Fires! What a save by Katie McLaughlin!
Hey, will anyone get there for DVC? It's Yasmin firing! Turns, Plancarte! What a save by Megan Elms!
Tied by the last defender. Valentine comes out. Noel drills the keeper. Levis! Goal! And that is a DVC victory! Welcome, faithful followers of the Green and White. I'm Joe Hickey, the radio voice of DVC Athletics, and this is Vikings Soccer Rewind, a season-long trip in the Nostalgia Mobile to help us pass a long fall semester with no DVC sports. Today, we rejoin the 2015 Vikings, featuring many of the same players that we saw last week as the 2014 team broke a major taboo by knocking off Santa Rosa Junior College for the very first time. We last saw this version of the Green and White just holding off Ohlone for their first win of the season back in episode 3. Since then, they've had 2 spectacular weeks, followed by 3 weeks of the Big 8 Conference, bringing them somewhat back down to earth. On the good side of the ledger, over the 14 days after the win over Ohlone, they would beat Cabrillo and Chabot, and they would also play to 0 draws against Fresno and Santa Rosa, the eventual top 2 seeds in Northern California. After that, though, it would get a little uneven. They would sweat out a win over Sacramento City, another one over American River, they drew Sierra 0-0, and they fell 2-1 to Cosumnes River by a coat of crossbar paint. Today, they're coming off of a 4-2 loss at Modesto, conditioned by a Caitlin Cunningham injury that opened up the floodgates for the Pirates in the second half. After a couple days to work out a new defensive alignment, they welcome Delta College to the Vike. Now, Adrian Sorensen is at this point in year 6 of building Delta into a perennial playoff contender. And this has been the most successful season yet. The Mustangs sit just a point back of Santa Rosa at the top of the Big 8, and at 3rd place in the NorCal playoff standings. And they boast a truly special player up front in Kiera Kiki Muñiz, who leads them in scoring at this point of the season with 10 goals. You saw a little bit more of a fully developed version of her in our 2016 game a couple weeks ago, but even Proto-Kiki was terrifying. So enjoy that. DVC, meanwhile, enter today in 4th place in the Big 8 and 7th in the playoff standings, looking for a big result to stay in touch with the conference leaders and to boost their drive for a top 8 seed and a first home playoff game in 4 years. I think that's plenty of preamble, so off we go now to Pleasant Hill, October 16th, 2015, DVC Delta, live via tape delay on Viking Soccer Rewind. The defense, marshaled, of course, by Sammy Hebbing at the back. The 4-woman line, Andrea Weinstein, Dom Calloway back into the center back position again to replace Caitlin Cunningham, Dej Dargan, and Megan Kappa. That is from right to left. The midfield, in order to deal with the loss of Calloway, will put Gabby Silva in from the first minute. She'll be playing to the left side, Mazolewski to the right, and Jaime in the deep-lying director quarterback type position. The other change is up top, where Carla Ramos gets her first start since the first game of the season in place of Julia Curran. She will be flanking to the right side of the 3-woman attack. Haley Seguir on the left. Ashley Scannell confirmed for her 3rd straight start in the center. For San Joaquin Delta, it's going to be interesting trying to figure out exactly what the formation is. By positions, it would seem to be a 3-3-4. I'm going to take my best guess at what I think is going to be a 4-3-3 as our center official, Ali Harivandi, brings us into motion here in Pleasant Hill. They've got Shauna Ridge, the approximately 6'3", 6'4" goalkeeper, dressed in all pink with a black stripe down one side of the jersey. Over at the back. The defensive line, my best guess right now is that it will be the number 4, Aubrey Kimball, in her first action of Big 8 play, working with Hunter Wells, Ashlyn Sotelo, and Yesenia Piceno. A midfield consisting of Lizzie Martinez, a little bit of a surprise starter, along with Megan Wallace and Amanda Lopez, one of the captains. Up top, Rachel Cianes and Kiki Muñiz pairing with Madeline Islava. We'll see if that actually holds up. We do see Muñiz over at this near sideline as San Joaquin Delta look to possess the ball inside the first minute. Jaime able to play it off of the number 21 Islava and earn the Vikings a throw in here. DVC in the home greens, all green jersey, shorts and socks with white accents. Mullins and a white DVC on the front, white block numerals on the back, are attacking from the left to the right. But the ball taken away right now by San Joaquin Delta and trying to play down the left wing looking for Kiki Muñiz. Callaway able to get there first, looking to defend it from in front of the precocious freshman from Lincoln. Callaway manages to dribble her way out, tries to pass the ball forward towards Seguir, taken away for a moment by Lizzie Martinez, and now Muñiz manages to play it back into the center for the number 25, Lopez. Captain centers this ball, sprayed out wide to the right side for, I believe, Hunter Wells. Her ball into the 18-yard box is right at Sammy Hebbing. So Muñiz definitely playing the left side of their attack. Lizzie Martinez seeming to be the left side midfielder. Islava certainly a forward. A little tough to tell who's at the far sideline. San Joaquin Delta's kit is gold and white. It's a gold and white thin vertical striping, gold shorts, white socks. The numbers on the back are very legible. They're black standard numerals. The numbers on the front, on the other hand, are completely illegible as they are in gold, along with San Joaquin Delta. So it's a little interesting trying to tell who's who unless they're running directly away from you. It does seem to be Ashlyn Sotelo playing in the right back position. She was up on an overlap, and Cianes does appear to be the right side flank forward. Ball in possession right now in the three-quarter zone, pushed forward looking for Cianes to get onto it. Played away by Megan Capa, a throw-in to come from about 20 yards away. So Cianes, Islava, and Muñiz, the forward line. It's Martinez and Wallace, along with perhaps the number 4. Actually, no, Aubrey Kimball is going over to fetch the ball and take the throw-in. So it looks like it's Martinez, Lopez, and Wallace in the midfield. So actually, how about that? I'm 6 for 6 on those positions. That's exciting. Handball apparent there by Amanda Lopez trying to settle a ball in the middle. Nothing given, however. Taken away by Yasmin Jaime at the top left corner of the 18-yard box. Amanda Lopez will go back in pursuit. Drops this back to the right back Kimball. And her pass is a little errant. Comes to Haley Seguir. Nifty little flick to get around the onrushing Muñiz. Plays this now to Dre Weinstein. Weinstein having to scurry to keep that ball in play, and she does. Gets it forward to Seguir. Her ball into the middle for Scannell, and Scannell was being pushed from behind there. Martinez hits the deck. No foul given. Haley Seguir with the ball. Drops it back to Silva. Looking perhaps for the run up the seam of either Scannell or Carla Ramos. Instead tries to dump it back and has it picked clean by San Joaquin Delta. Lizzie Martinez working forward. Plays it into the front of the center circle for Cianes, who sprays it wide to the right now for Wallace. Cuts her run around Mazolewski. Ball worked into the middle. Comes free for Wallace. Trying to get forward with it, though, is Dejiana Dargan, who had just taken it off, and she absorbs the first foul of today's game. Here comes the free kick taken very quickly, and not a great idea there, as stepping up to claim it was the left back, Hunter Wells. Ball played over the left side for Muñiz, trying to run up the back of Dre Weinstein. Dre gets to that ball first, but is playing it back and forth, and Muñiz has kept the ball in play. Works it to the center now for Martinez. Islava. Back to Hunter Wells, puts it across to the top of the 18, glancing header by Cianes. Does not carry to anyone in gold and white, and is claimed by Sammy Hebbing at the edge of her 18. Over on the left side. So the back line appears to be Wells on this side, Kimball over at the far sideline, and that would mean that the remaining players are Sotelo and Piseno in the center. So we do have indeed a pair of 4-3-3s here. Islava able to work the ball away from Yasmin Jaime, played into the center, mismanaged there. The clearance from Dargan is right to Cianes. Drop back and now sprayed to the right side by Lopez. Will Kimball get there on the overlap before it goes out of play? She does. Ramos tracking back to try to defend, and has managed to work the ball off of her very effectively. Ramos, by the way, playing on the left wing and Seguir on the right, unlike the way that I originally declared it based on a drawing I saw at one point. Ball worked forward here for San Joaquin Delta, taken away by Ramos in the left flank of the Delta attack. Forward now for Mazolewski. Nifty little move to step by the arrival of a midfielder. Tries to dump this into the center for Yazzie. Lots of pressure coming from Delta. Yazzie tries to go over the top for Seguir, and rather than playing it to feet, knocks it over her head, and it's out for a throw. 5 minutes and 12 seconds into today's encounter. Non-stop action so far. So the conditioning, which was called a little bit into question during the course of the Modesto match, is going to be very important for DVC to rediscover in this one if Delta are going to play this way for anything approaching 45 minutes at a clip. Ball is out at the near sideline here. Weinstein the throw in for Seguir, trying to step around the arrival of Hunter Wells. Works it forward for Silva. Tries to go into the center for Scannell. Picked off there in the middle by, I believe, Wallace. Ball comes free, though, in the direction of Seguir. Played away from her by Wells, but out for another Viking throw. So for DVC, a couple of injuries. Caitlin Cunningham is available, but likely a bit limited. Meanwhile, Isela Rodriguez and Jackie Chavez unable to participate in today's match, so hopefully we will see Isela before too long. But it has been now 4 matches in a row that she's been forced to miss. Yasmin Jaime trying to work a ball through the center of the three-quarter zone. Punched away and now played down the left flank by Muñiz looking for Cianes. Dargan beats her to that. Dej trying to find somebody. Cianes pokes it away from her and it's out for a Viking throw about 3 yards in front of the corner flag. So the rest of the reset here, the match officials today in a reddish-orange shirt over black shorts and socks. It is Mr. Ali Harivandi in the center, being assisted by, actually, Linda Thompson at this sideline. In fact, excuse me, I think there was some confusion. Harivandi is the AR2, and it's actually Francisco Linares in the center, so I was misinformed at the beginning when I did my announcements. Perhaps we'll correct that at halftime. The ball knocked away from DVC. Kiki Muñiz wide open here on the left as Delta tried to reset, but the ball forward is not a good one. Picked off by Weinstein, played through 2 defenders into the direction of Haley Seguir on the right. She'll be beaten to that ball by Piseno, but is working to try to get it off of her. Piseno finally does manage to get turned and put it down the sideline, stays in play, comes right to Weinstein, plays it forward for Silva, has her back to the defender. Out for Seguir, cross toward the top of the 18, a little bit too distant for Scannell. Ball forward by Delta, though, is picked off by the head of Weinstein and now controlled by Callaway. Pressure coming again from Muñiz. Dargan is going to knock this all the way back to Sammy in the red over black standard DVC goalkeeper kit. Long drive into the middle, headed forward by Sotelo. Taken by DVC's number 15, now Callaway. Unable to hold it there, though, taken off of her by the number 21, Islava. Her ball to Cianes, though, picked off by Carla Ramos, playing a rather deep-lying version of this left flank position. But at the moment, it is what is necessary as Delta have owned possession for the opening 8 minutes. Long ball forward looking for Scannell, goes head-to-head with Sotelo in the middle. Not able to keep that ball, though, for DVC. Megan Wallace, forward. Comes a ball looking to split 2 defenders and find Muñiz. Out comes Hebbing. She dives to her right and claims that from in front of Muñiz and Dre Weinstein. So a chance for a drop kick here. So Muñiz, the precocious freshman, she and Jessica Sanchez, who is not in today's starting lineup, I have to assume due to an injury, both co-lead the team with 10 goals. DVC looking to create a little something here. Ball forward for Jaime, doesn't get through the first line of defense. Scannell got back to it, tried to thread it in for Seguir, but it's picked off by Piseno. Lizzie Martinez. Quick work to find the open woman, the right back, Aubrey Kimball. She tries to go over the top, knocked down by Dej Dargan as Islava runs in behind her. Dargan forward for Silva, trying to spray this out to the left, a little too strong for Ramos, and it's out for a Mustang throw. So the goalkeeper, Shauna Ridge, who at least going into the week was the leader in goals against average, and how could you not be? She had conceded just 1 goal in about 9.5 games worth of action. But this Delta team conceded 3 to Santa Rosa. By far their worst defensive performance of the season and worst in general. They only picked up the 1 goal. They have only been shut out once this season. That in their draw against Sierra. Last year, a 1.41 goals against average. She's still under 1 goal per game, easily. DVC trying to fix that, though. Ball played forward by Ramos. Comes free after the defender gets to it. Ramos, heel flick, finds Seguir, cuts it onto her left. Haley trying to put in a cross, nudged away by the defense. Mazolewski not quite able to settle it and find room for a shot. She does get it, though. Drops it back for Silva. She drives from distance, and DVC put their first shot on frame. It is, however, absorbed by Shauna Ridge. So 10th minute, our first shot of today's encounter, and it's taken by the women in green. Long ball by Ridge, knocked down by the combination of Ramos and Mazolewski. Hannah Maz trying to play the ball forward. Thought I heard a whistle. That might have been from another field. A lot of sports going on at DVC today. We'll talk about a few of those other encounters going on in just a moment. But in the meanwhile, it's Delta trying to attack through the middle. Ball played forward, 1 touch from Islava. Nearly does carry it into a good position for the Mustangs. Nothing doing, though. Seguir sees the overlap coming on the right side from Weinstein. She's going to have to scoot to keep it in play and does not. The flag is up from Miss Thompson here at the near sideline. And a throw in to come for the Mustangs. So we mentioned that Cunningham is limited. Rodriguez and Chavez unable to participate today. Other players on the Viking bench: Katie McLaughlin, Caitlin Cunningham. We talked about Julia Curran, Hannah Harris, Daisy Lozano, Hannah Lewis, Hannah Kidson, Amanda Gomez, Kat Hafner, and Kristen Cunningham, all available potentially. DVC working a ball over to the left side. Jaime trying to find Ramos over at the edge of the box. Nothing doing. Ball's cleared away. Dargan pops it up with the head. Comes back to the captain, Dom Callaway. Callaway nearly does wait a little too long to get the ball off of her foot. Now finds Weinstein on the right side, tries to pop a ball into the right flank. It's going to go a bit too long for Seguir, though, out the back for a goal kick. As for Delta, they have ostensibly available on the bench Hannah Burgess, a freshman defender out of Takei that has started just about every game of Big 8 play but is not out there today. They've also got Jessica Sanchez, who we talked about, their leading scorer. I suspect we may not see her today unless she's got a kangaroo court sort of mistake that she made that's keeping her out. Haley Seguir trying to hold the ball in over at the right side corner. Unfortunately, the last touch was off of a Delta defender. Throw in to come for DVC from about 10 yards shy of the byline. Coach Sorensen also has Michaela Pino and Brooke Sewell available out of players that have started in Big 8 play so far. Here comes a throw in, comes to the edge here for Ramos, tries to thread this through, looking for Mazolewski. She fires, still alive. 2 shots blocked right out in front of goal. The second one coming from Scannell, and the clearance is out the far sideline for a Viking throw. Desperate stuff for a moment there, though. In rapid succession here, the Vikings have 3 shots, 1 of them on frame, 2 of them blocked at point-blank range. Throw is in the direction of Ramos. Punched away by the Delta defense, not settled by Cianez, though. Mazolewski tries to play it to Ramos down in the left flank, but way too strong. Out the back for another goal kick. Also available for Coach Sorensen are Taylor McGuire, Kayla Bender, and Estela Rodriguez, each of whom have played some minutes in Big 8. Jasmine Alou, Jessica Hufford, Lola Garcia, and Marissa Galvin have each played minutes during the non-conference slate, but have yet to feature during the conference season. Kimball was one of those players, but she is, again, the surprise starter at the right back position. Perhaps some injuries or issues at the back. The goal kick popped up by Scannell, tries to play it back over her own head for a teammate to run onto. Cleared by the defense, and look out, trying to get up ahead of steam is Lizzie Martinez in the center circle. Works it to the right side for Cianez. DVC do well to reestablish their shape. Ball worked into the middle now for Wallace, right in the center circle. Forward for Muñiz. Can't turn on Dom Callaway, and the ball comes free to Yazzie. Trying to spray this over the right side for Haley Seguir, but it's again too high. DVC preparing a couple of substitutions, which they will take perhaps in just a moment. A bit of an inadvertent whistle here as it was originally signaled. But it is a Delta throw-in, so they cannot perform the substitution just yet. Hunter Wells to put the ball in. Throws it down this near sideline. Met with the head of Dre Weinstein. Knocked down over here by the 16, Wallace. Tries to play this into the middle. Vikings midfielders converge on it. Mazolewski gets her pocket pick, though. It's come free to Kiera Muñiz. Muñiz looking to feed somebody, and Weinstein makes it a little too challenging, and they get the ball right back. Gabby Silva trying to get turned. Sprays it over to the right side. Walled off by Wells. Vikings can't get out of their own end. Mismanaged slightly, however, over here by Wallace, and it's out for a Viking throw, and that will allow the substitutions here on roughly a quarter of an hour played. Julia Curran and Hannah Harris to enter. Haley Seguir out and Carla Ramos out. So the two of them will bracket Scannell in the top of the 4-3-3. Looks like Harris is going to the right, Curran to the left. Throw in to come here in minute 15. Working it to Harris. Her first touch, though, is going to carry it out for a Delta throw. Ball forward looking for Muñiz. Weinstein able to take it off of her. Comes to Jaime. Gets turned. Drops it back for Weinstein. Plays this over the top where Harris and Scannell are trying to get onto it. Played up in the air by the 17. Comes to the chest of Scannell. Tries to play this wide to the left for Curran. Doesn't get to her. Comes free to Mazolewski. Plays a ball in towards the right side, but nobody quite advanced enough to run in on it. So Hannah Mazolewski, as of late, a monster for DVC. And speaking of Hannah's, Hannah Kidson now about to enter for Scannell. Also, first substitution for the Delta Mustangs, and it is the number 33, Brooke Sewell, who enters for Kiki Muñiz. And it looks like Cianez is going to switch sides over here to the near sideline. Very easy to pick her out. Band of bright neon pink tape on the top of her socks and a pink headband around her dark hair. Rachel Cianez, who scored the first goal and the game-winning goal in Delta's win here at this field last season. Dom Callaway pushes this forward, beats Cianez with it. Harris trying to work it to the right flank for the overlap of Weinstein. It's a little too strong, and out the sideline it goes. Throw in to come for Hunter Wells. Looking immediately for Cianez. Does appear Sewell has taken up position on the right flank. Ball pinging about here in the midfield. Islava trying to challenge Callaway. The ball is out for another Viking throw. Weinstein goes down that right sideline over the head of Hannah Harris. Nobody running onto it for DVC. A bit of a wasted bit of possession. Controlled by Piseno, who's playing the left center back position. Give and go with Wells, now work forward for Cianez, who loses that ball. Weinstein plays it forward, and it looks like the last deflection was off of Cianez. Throw in to come for the Vikings from the right side. So the reset here in minute number 17, DVC with all 3 shots and the only shot so far on goal. Delta have committed the only foul so far today. And we're yet to see a corner kick. Of course, yet to see a goal. 0-0 here in the 17th. Comes the throw. It's just over the top of Silva. Nearly settled for Kidson. Trying to get onto it is Harris. Pops the ball up. Brought across, I believe, by the head of a defender and snagged by Shauna Ridge. Scary moment, though. That ball was pinging around, and it's another one of those situations where if Hannah Harris were maybe just an inch or two taller, she might have been able to get to that. Long ball knocked down by Yasmin Jaime in the middle. Now played forward, however, by the number 11, Hunter Wells. Headed forward again by DVC with Kappa, but we're at the midfield stripe. The ball controlled by Aubrey Kimball. To the right side now for the newly inserted Sewell. Plays that off of Kappa. Throw in to come from right in front of the fan bleachers over at the far sideline. You actually see what appears to be a Winnebago parked over in that area, too. I don't know if that belongs to one of the fans or to one of the residents of the community just to the outside of DVC's field. Either way, the throw comes from that way towards the box. Callaway able to clear. Mazolewski touches it forward. Curran tries to play it behind herself to run onto, but the heel flick is going to go out for a Mustang throw near midfield on the far sideline. So we mentioned Ridge, the returning player. She only started 5 games last season, but one of those was the road fixture that DVC had last year. I believe they had Amanda Simonich, their sophomore, their lone sophomore at that point, starting in the game here in Pleasant Hill. Ball taken away by the DVC defense, controlled now by Hannah Kidson. Drop back to Megan Kappa. Forward now for Curran. Tries to let that run a little bit and kick into Turbo. Trying to clean that up is the number 15 over there, Sotelo. She and Curran collide, get wrapped up a little bit. Sotelo took it away, but her pass is right to Megan Kappa. Tries to thread this forward. Sotelo takes it away. Kappa with a nice touch, and now trying to be played in. It's Kappa by Curran. Here comes Kappa towards the left side corner flag. Cross in toward the 18. Touched away by Curran. Hannah Kidson can't get everything behind that with the left foot, and it's into the arms of Shauna Ridge. Second shot on goal so far, but not a terribly authoritative or dangerous one. Amanda Gomez getting ready to enter the next opportunity here in minute number 19. Long ball headed straight down by Mazolewski. Controlled for a moment by Silva. She drops it back to the captain, Callaway. Bit of a mishit forward trying to find Jaime, and it comes instead to the left back, Hunter Wells. Over the head of Martinez is the ball sprayed out to the left, claimed by Cianez, but her ball back deflected by Weinstein and claimed by Harris. And she'll look to play in the overlap down the right side of Weinstein. Pisano trying to control that. Weinstein still challenging for it. Good battle between the two of them. Ball comes free. Kidson gets to it on the right side. Hannah Kidson crossing into the 18, and out comes Ridge before the arrival of Curran to claim that. But dangerous moment here for the DVC attack. Starting to create a little something here in the 20th minute. Back there, Pisano is the only returning player. She was a fullback last season and a bit of an offensive threat. She's being penned back as a center back, though, these days. Dej Dargan, meanwhile, taking a ball off of Brooke Sewell over at the far sideline. Played back to Kappa. Clears this ball in the direction of Curran, but also, unfortunately, Lizzie Martinez. Taken away for a moment, though, by DVC's 13. Martinez back on it in front of Mazolewski. Plays the ball forward. One touch by Cianez. Comes free here. Sewell trying to get in front of it. Drops the ball back now for Wallace. Back to Sewell at the edge of the 18. Back to goal. Tries to play the ball forward. Cleared away by Megan Kappa. Silva can't quite hold it there. Put right back into the three-quarter zone, though, for Cianez. And here comes the pressure from Weinstein to take it away. And Cianez was in an offside position when that ball was reserved back in, as signaled by Mr. Harivandi at the far sideline. So a free kick to come for DVC. Scary moment, but San Joaquin Delta still without a shot today. They did have Sewell and Cianez back there, but they also pretty much had no one available to try to put the ball in. Here comes Curran, sorting a ball to the right side. Can Gabby get there before the defender? Not quite. Pisano arrives first, trying to keep that ball in play at the byline. Plays it forward. Hannah Harris takes it away. Immediately serves in a new cross. Cleared down the far sideline and a throw in, near sideline rather. Throw in to come from the right for the Vikings. Substitution time, one aside, and it will be Amanda Gomez entering, as well as, I believe, the number 20. So that is Jessica Sanchez entering the match. The other leading scorer for this team, 10 goals thus far this season for Sanchez, along with 6 assists. She leads them in both categories, co-leading with Mullins on the goal category. For DVC, it is Silva out and Gomez in, like-for-like swap. In the forward portion of the attack, DVC earn a throw-in right down the right side now for Kidson. Can she get there before it's out the byline? She does. She plays it off the defender. Corner kick, DVC. First one of those we've seen so far. As we said at this point, nearing the halfway point of the first half, DVC statistically dominating this game. They've yet to concede a shot. They've taken 4. They've put 2 on goal, one a little more dangerous than the other. And they've now got the first corner kick. Curran puts the ball into the 18, over the top of Ridge, but only Mustangs waiting back there for it. Megan Kappa is able to get to that rebound, though. Drops it back to Dargan, immediately trying to serve it back in the direction of Kidson and company. Cleared for a moment. Back on it is Weinstein. Drop back to Dom, looking for space on the right side to feed Curran, but it's a bit too strong, a bit too lateral, out for a Mustang throw. Sanchez, who just entered, is again among the starters. She's been pretty much an installed starter most of this season. Had 4 goals and 2 assists last year as a super sub. Appears to have stationed herself in the center of the attack. Ball taken away by DVC in the midfield. Mazolewski sprays it out to the right side for Harris. Here comes the cross in. Ridge again arriving just before JC. Vikings for a moment there had actually swapped the position of those 2 players. Long clearance, knocked down and settled by Dargan very neatly. Working through the center, tries to get this forward for Kidson. Doesn't quite get the strongest of first touches to it. Taken away by Yesenia Piceno, who's now trying to gallop forward. She's got Cianez showing forward on the left, but it's a bit of a hospital ball. Weinstein, though, not able to get to it. Cianez does. She's going to play this down the left line in order to get by Callaway, but Jaime tracking back out of the defensive midfield position, and she's taken that away. Forward quickly for Harris. Looks to get turned. Tries to put this under the foot of a player and get it to Kidson, but she was making the outside run. The ball went in. Wallace on it here at the near sideline. Played forward for Sanchez. Her ball, though, is hassled by the DVC defense, and it comes to Kappa instead. Forward for Curran. Turns her run toward the center. Brings it to the middle now. Top of the center circle for Gomez. Tries to play this forward for Harris. Gets turned back to goal. About 25 yards away. Now dribbling towards the midfield stripe. Weinstein gets on it. Knocks it into a little space for herself. Plays it down the right side. She waited too long, according to the AR on this side. Linda Thompson, that ball went out before Weinstein wrapped her foot around it. So a throw-in to come for the Mustangs. And another substitution to be authored. Looks like Mullins is back in. And is that Sanchez coming right back out? Let's see. Indeed it is. So one would imagine a player with 10 goals so far this season and 6 assists, playing just a short stretch like that and then coming straight back out. She's likely dealing with an injury. Almost has to be the case. Very similar to the current Viking situation with Caitlin Cunningham. Thus far, the defense seems to be in good enough shape not to have needed to spend her as yet. In the meanwhile, a foul committed, I believe, by Kidson. Either way, it's the first one whistled against DVC today, evening up that count. And a free kick from just behind the midfield stripe, about 2 or 3 yards inside the near sideline. It's Ashlyn Sotelo to put this ball in for San Joaquin Delta. Punches this ball, it's falling about 25 yards away, gets through Mazolewski, but comes straight to Dom Callaway. Pops this ball up in the direction of Kidson, just over her head. Sotelo gets there, heads it forward for Hunter Wells, knocks this down and plays it immediately back to Sotelo. She'll look to change the point of attack to the right side. It's actually Martinez knocking the ball down inside the center circle, spraying it back out to Hunter Wells on the left, and back comes Hannah Harris to take that ball away. Unfortunately, carries right back to Delta. Wallace trying to play back and forth with Cianez. Cianez went off on a run. Now plays the 1-2, and sliding in is Dom Callaway and taking that ball away. Mazolewski trying to get herself turned and play it down the right sideline. Unfortunately, slices just a little bit on her. Inside 20 minutes to go till halftime. Throw-in comes to Cianez. She tries to play it over her own head, but it's out on this near sideline just in front of me for a Viking throw. It's Hannah Mazolewski's father running over and grabbing that and giving it right back. It's good. Every time I've done that, I've had my audio start to cut out on me and nearly injured myself in the process. Here's a throw-in headed forward by Hannah Harris, rather. Nearly did carry to Kidson. Comes now to Yasmin Jaime. She's got Rachel Cianez bearing down on her, but Jaime stays on the ball. Back in the center circle, plays this forward for Mazolewski. Ooh, saw Gomez showing for it, but the 25 Lopez steps up and steps in front of her. Ball played down the left side for Curran. Pops it up with a toe poke. Kidson unable to settle. taken down instead by Wallace in the center. Wallace still on it, spraying it out wide to the right side for Sewell. That might be a little hot for her to get to before it goes over the sideline. She does reach out, pokes it forward, but cannot keep it in play. Throw to come for DVC, and a San Joaquin Delta player getting ready to enter over on the near sideline. So we talked a little about Ridge and Sanchez here, and Piseno. Lizzie Martinez in the midfield along with Megan Wallace, also returning players. Lizzie Martinez was the team leader last year with 10 assists. This season a little less productive. She's only gotten 3 so far as the ball comes forward in the direction of Hannah Kidson. A bit strong for her. Played away by the defense and claimed by Rachel Cianes. Played forward for the speed of Muñiz. Out comes Hebbing. Muñiz dribbles around her, fires, and buries it into the empty net. The congratulations also being issued for the number 25, Amanda Lopez, responsible for that assist in minute number 27. Delta take the lead. It's a great ball there through the center after it was hoofed out of the defense. And Muñiz made no mistake. Hebbing came out just a hair later than she apparently needed to, and Muñiz was able to dribble it to the right, get around Sammy, and from a very tight angle beat the back-rushing players Weinstein and company. For DVC, of course, the challenge is going to be to keep their heads up and wits about them. Against Modesto 3 days ago, that one goal, that one break in the armor, resulted in a lot of frustration, a lot of confusion, and eventually 2 more goals very rapidly. And Delta are certainly looking to create that right away as the ball's played out the left toward the left side of DVC's defense for Brooke Sewell. Kappa able to manage that, but she plays it out for a throw. So the reset right now, Islava, in the meanwhile, after the goal, has come back into the game. She is currently working with Muñiz and Sewell up top, and the ball is played over to the left side. Comes across towards Islava, but it's very short. Weinstein will clear this. Hannah Kidson able to hold the ball in the center. Tries to get herself turned. Pressure coming, and Megan Wallace takes the ball away. Tries to spray it down the left, and up steps Dre Weinstein to take that away before the potential arrival of Islava. Hannah Harris battling to try to keep that ball away from Hunter Wells. She drops it back to Lopez in the center circle. Out wide to the right for Sewell. Handling it near the midfield striped flag over at the far sideline. Drops it back to a defender, and the ball forward is claimed by Dom Calloway in the defense. Played to the midfield stripe now for Hannah Harris. Sees Kidson showing for it, but elects to go back to Weinstein. Weinstein, nice little bit of work to cut her way through the arrival of Islava. Plays it forward to Hannah Kidson, who steps on the ball and loses it, but Yasmin Jaime now on the ball. Played forward, but just behind Amanda Gomez. Julia Curran, good pressure, though, to take that ball right away from the arrival of Sotelo. Curran looking for somebody to feed. Serves it into the middle, knocked down by Kidson and knocked way back towards the Delta defenders. Clearance comes to Kappa, serves it deep. Kidson was probably in an offside position, but it is claimed instead by the defense. Poked away from Sotelo, but back in the direction of Ridge. That'll carry all the way back. Claimed by Shauna Ridge. Long drive toward the center circle. Back-to-back go Muñiz and Dargan. Ball played forward by DVC, prolonged with the head of Yasmin Jaime. Comes in the middle, though, to Amanda Lopez, the captain. Ball forward is picked off by Jaime, but she can't quite get a domesticating type touch. It goes out for a Delta throw. Substitution time, 1 for Delta, 2 for DVC. Re-entering are Gabby Silva and Haley Seguir. Out go Hannah Harris and Dre Weinstein. So Silva will install herself now as the right back. Just here in front of me, Seguir looking like she'll be the right flank player alongside Kidson and the current left flank player, Julia Curran. Ball settled with the hand of Madeline Islava. That will be a free kick for DVC. Gabby Silva to take this. Just inside a quarter of an hour to go here in Pleasant Hill. Delta 1, DVC 0. Long ball in the direction of Gomez. Actually goes by both her and Lopez. Claimed in the center for a moment by Delta. Gomez got a touch to it and played it to Seguir. Immediately taken back by San Joaquin Delta. In the meanwhile, their substitutions involve the insertion of a number 19 who is nowhere to be found on my roster. I have an 18. I'll ask about that at halftime. For the time being, we're going to assume that that's Kayla Bender. or perhaps actually looks an awful lot like Lola Garcia, who has been the subject of all manner of drama regarding jersey numbers. Last year, she was wearing 24, which was nowhere to be found on my roster, so maybe that's her this time. We'll go with that. Lola Garcia, sophomore defender out of Franklin. Now she's playing way too far. No, she's playing in the back. That works. DVC, speaking of, getting the ball back here. Julia Curran trying to spin and get this either on frame or across the middle. Either way, Shauna Ridge steps up to claim it. Ball for a moment back in possession of Delta. Now sprayed down the right side in the direction of Seguir. Way too deep for her to get onto. 13 minutes, 40 seconds to go until the halftime whistle. It will be a throw-in coming from Hunter Wells over at that side. Currently does seem to be Islava as well as the number 24, Estela Rodriguez, up top here. And Muñiz having moved all the way over to the right side now. Throw-in comes for DVC. Silva bypasses Kidson. Nobody running into that spot. Backtracks Piseno. She'll have to play that near the byline. Ball forward, and Seguir bodies off the intended target, Wells, and earns DVC a throw. Looking for lucky number 13 as we are about 13 minutes away from halftime. Throw by Silva just over the top of Amanda Gomez. Popped up in the air with the head of a Delta player. It is out on the sideline for another Viking throw. This one perhaps 3 or 4 yards shy of the byline on the right side. Here comes the long throw from Weinstein. Comes to Haley Seguir, trying to turn and serve it into the middle. She gets it on the second try, lays it into the path of Mazolewski. And she fires, but can't quite keep the ball down or bend it on frame. It was up and a little bit to the right. Not a bad idea, though. Mazolewski with goals in 2 consecutive games last week. It was part of a lot of the really bright actions during the game against Modesto down toward the end. Here's a ball forward, and a little lazy there. Popped up in the air by the head of the number 25 Gomez, settled by Wells and played away. Up steps Kappa, tries to play the ball forward for DVC. Cleaned up by Delta, now claimed by Dargan. Might have been held by the arm, but she works forward now, plays it to Haley. Haley trying to get herself turned and work around the right side player. Silva was thinking about an overlap. Haley dribbles her way through the player. Now serves across towards the far post. Arriving Curran! Goal! Goal, 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 goal! JC! 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 Julia Curran! In minute number 34, Haley Seguir on the assist. A perfect ball after she'd beaten a defender. Served to the far post. DVC have done something that only Lassen College and Santa Rosa have done this year, and that is find the back of the net against San Joaquin Delta. 1-1. That was absolutely gorgeous. A fantastic piece of work, particularly by Seguir to create that, and a perfect finish by JC at the far post. DVC trying to earn the ball back and see if they can come up with a Viking special, which this season has been the goal within the final 5 minutes. It's Hannah Mazolewski working forward, tried to play that to the onrushing Amanda Gomez. Took a deflection, though, and Lizzie Martinez claims. Tries to drop this over the shoulder of Kiki Muñiz. Look out, she's beaten Kappa to it. Now tries to get around Dargan. Back on the ball, Muñiz fires, and immediately gives the lead right back to San Joaquin Delta. Goal number 12 on the season for Kiki Muñiz, found by Lizzie Martinez's ball over the top. After a couple of touches from the defenders, I don't think you can realistically give her an assist on that. DVC 5 shots, 3 on goal, 1 in the back of the net. Delta, on the contrary, 2 shots, both in the back of the net today. They have not created a ton of chances, but Kiki Muñiz, the quick forward, the freshman out of Lincoln, has been absolutely merciless. So 2-1 your score in Pleasant Hill. Vikings briefly back on level terms, but they're going to try to get that right back, and you can see the smile on the faces of some of the Vikings players knowing that they can break through against a team like this. The offense has started to come together. The defense is admittedly playing without one of their linchpins today. And it is worth noting that that is roughly Caitlin's spot that both goals have been produced from. Dej Dargan tracking back against Cianez to get this ball back. Cianez takes the last touch on it. That ought to be a goal kick. or if, for that matter, a throw-in as the ball actually goes out the sideline. So your resets so far, Muñoz in the 27th, Curran in the 34th, Muñoz again in the 35th. Busy game in the last 10 minutes or so. 3 goals scored, about as fast as I think I've ever seen 3 goals scored, except for perhaps on Tuesday. Hunter Wells in possession here at the near sideline, plays this over the top, headed forward authoritatively by Dargan, now played back towards the Viking 18-yard box, claimed by Weinstein, sprays this down the left side in the direction of Curran. Hannah Kidson tracking back and gets a deflection to it, comes to Amanda Gomez, out wide to the right side for Hailey Segir to run onto. Can she beat Hunter Wells there, and can she beat the ball to the byline? The answer to both those questions is yes. She's forced to turn her run, though, to the outside. No one really there to help out, and Segir couldn't find Silva quite in time to get it to her before it was taken away by the defense. Jaime, though, battling, takes another ball off here, tries to dribble through the arrival of Piseno and cannot. Good work by the little sophomore center back. Ball forward now for Rodriguez. Plays this into the middle now for Lizzie Martinez, running up into the attack. Has Cianez on the right side. Amanda Gomez gets a foot to it, punches the ball away from Martinez for a moment. Martinez back onto it, though. Centers this, and it's now in possession of Wallace after a touch from the other midfielder, Lopez. And that ball wrong foots the number 13 in gold and white. Unfortunately, Mazolewski can't quite profit from it. Reclaimed, falling to the ground is Wallace, who from the seat of her pants gets the ball towards Jaime. Played forward but intercepted by Wells. Pressure from Segir causes the errant pass, and Silva claims. Brings it forward for Kidson. Tried to spray this into space for Segir to run onto, but it's out the sideline for a throw.
Come on, Grego, let down. Let's go. Get those heads up, ladies.
And here in these final 7.5 minutes here, the conditioning likely to really show here for the Vikings. They need to restabilize themselves. The disappointment certainly palpable after that ball was put in the back of the net by Delta, but the goal was fantastic and is exactly the kind of action that the Vikings have been looking for all season. The quote we heard from Coach Mullins immediately thereafter was, "That was not a mistake. We created that." Long shot from distance by Rachel Cianez is gobbled up by Sammy Hebbing, and that is the first shot the Delta have taken that has not wound up in the back of the net. Given the first 2 shots, very challenging from very close range. In one case with Hebbing out of goal already, having tried to close down the speedy number 27 in gold and white. Here's the ball out wide to the right side now for Hailey Segir, just in front of the midfield stripe. Ends up playing it off of Wells, trying to go by her. Hailey trying to keep the ball in play. Last touch by Wells. Throw in coming up for the Vikings. 6.5 to go. So Estela Rodriguez up top here, the number 24. This is she is a returning player, but she did not actually play last season. Never did get an appearance, and this is only her first opportunity to play here during the Big 8. As the Vikings author a substitution, Amanda Gomez has come out, and I actually did not quite spot who went in. Throw in, though, meanwhile, comes to the right side from Kappa for Kidson. Dribbles it through the legs of Piseno, but too far for her to run back onto it. Here comes the clearance up over the head of both Rodriguez and Callaway. Callaway absorbs a shove as DVC try to get back onto this ball. And now Rodriguez tumbles over, and that is apparently the one that's going to be sanctioned as a foul. Second one whistled against DVC here today as we are about to enter into the final 5 minutes, or as I call it right now, Viking time. Sotelo will take this ball about 10 yards inside the near sideline, just about a yard behind the center stripe. Delta with 4 players towards the edge of the 18. Ball headed forward by Dom. Lizzie Martinez tries to settle. Mazolewski looks to get there instead. Sliding in now is Dom. Plays the ball off the defender. It comes free for a moment to Lola Garcia. DVC finally able to clear through Curran. Comes to Kidson in the center circle. She settles it with the chest. Tries to get turned. Little awkward, but she does finally spray the ball over to the right side for Silva. Overlaps coming from both Kappa and a run from Hailey Segir on the right side, the assist woman on the first goal. Pops that ball up off of Wells. Throw in earned for the Vikings. Inside 5 minutes to go. Here comes a throw for Kappa. Finds Gabby Silva. Steps around the arrival of the first defender. Tries to play this over to Segir on the right side. Looks to beat Hunter Wells. She does. Starts dribbling to the right side. Tries to beat the second defender. Gets whipped to ground. No foul given. Clearance is only as far as Kappa, though, on the right side. Looks to serve a ball in towards the near post, but it doesn't have the requisite bend, and it's claimed by Shauna Ridge. DVC looking to transition and drop their way back. The Vikings picked up a draw last season against this team out in Stockton, 1-1. It's Daisy Lozano in that case with the early tally off of a Cailin assist. Leveled by a player no longer with the team, Zaida Suarez, just after halftime. DVC either just before or just after halftime looking to be the team that does the leveling this time around. They did lose the game here in Pleasant Hill 2-0, one of the less inspired performances the Vikings had. Today they certainly seem inspired. The question is, are they going to be able? Ball played down the right side looking for Rodriguez, claimed by Dargan instead. Drops this all the way back to Sammy Hebbing, and DVC look to get wide. Kappa out here on the right side. Ball instead played into the midfield. Nobody really there for the Vikings. With the hip, a midfielder able to get the ball forward. Look out, 1-2 between Wallace and Rodriguez. Wallace fires, big save, Sammy Hebbing. And over to clean that up at the 6-yard box is Weinstein. May have had time to try to play the ball forward, but does elect to put it out the back for a goal, corner kick. First of those to come here for San Joaquin Delta. That is just their 4th shot. All 4 of them have been on frame. As we said, 2 of them in the back of the net. Carla Ramos getting ready to enter the match in just a moment. Looks to be Lizzie Martinez to take this from the right side. Delta with 6 players in the 18-yard box. The very tall Ashlyn Sotelo right in front of Sammy Hebbing. Siana is up there as well. She was a set-piece wizard, scored off of a corner in the game in Pleasant Hill last season. Here comes the ball in for Martinez in the direction of Garcia, headed away by Hannah Mazolewski, fired back in by the number 4 Aubrey Kimball, but that ball is way high and out the back for a DVC goal kick. So Hebbing will put this back into play in just a moment. Meanwhile, the Vikings make a change. Yasmin Jaime coming over. Oh, excuse me, not coming out of the game. She's coming over to just grab a sip of water. Cailin, the player that is out, in favor of Carla Ramos for the last few moments, and takes the plaudits from her teammates for her 4th goal of the season, leading the team. Both team leaders have gotten it in the back of the net. The only issue right now is that Mullins is beating Cailin 2-1. Long ball by Sammy is headed forward by Delta, but it comes to Kappa. Haley lets this run towards the right sideline. Haley serves this into the middle looking for Kidson, but wrong foots her. Hannah was running toward the outside. The ball drifts to the inside. Claimed by Delta. Ball worked forward. Silva with a chance to try to take it away. Martinez able to work it through her. Plays a 1-2 with Wallace. Wallace going over the top for Cianez, who is onside. Out comes Sammy. Sammy gets a touch to that, and Cianez tried to touch it through her, and back rushes Callaway. It's not a shot on goal, but it's the biggest save that Hebbing has had today. Inside the final 2 minutes, a fantastic ball forward, it must be said, by San Joaquin Delta. Found Cianez splitting between the 2 defenders. Came out the other end. Tough to believe this woman was a center back last year. Here comes a ball forward looking for Megan Wallace. She's beaten Kappa to it. Kappa tries to get back in between. Pokes the ball away. Comes to Weinstein. Her clearance headed forward by Mazolewski in the direction of Seguir and Silva. Up steps Wells, though, and takes it away. Comes right back to Hannah Maz, and she'll put this down the right flank looking for Seguir. That ball's got the curl to stay in for her. Can she get there before it goes across the byline? Not quite. Pisano's going to beat her to it. Ball does stay in play. Seguir trying to take it away. Flag goes up, and I believe that is for a foul whistled against Seguir, the 3rd given against the green and white today. Yet another game where they have more of a lot of things. They've outshot this team so far 5-4, although Delta have put 4 of their 5, or all 4 of theirs on frame. DVC just 3 of their 5. 3 fouls to 1. DVC with more of those. 1-1 the corner kick count. 2-1 the score, as we are likely in the 45th. Throw-in coming up the sideline towards the 24, Rodriguez. Held in by Wallace, but Seguir able to take that ball away from her. Drops it back for Callaway, tries to go forward for Kidson. Back into the center, and Martinez able to nudge that into the middle for Garcia just before Jaime arrived. Sprayed out wide to the right side for the 4, Kimball. Her ball forward intercepted by Carla Ramos, and that is going to do it for half number 1. So Mullins a pair, sandwiched around Julia Curran's briefest of equalizers in minute number 34. We go to the break. Your score at San Joaquin Delta 2, DVC 1. Welcome back to the year 2020, a pulsating last 20 minutes of the half, leaving Delta ahead 2-1. I'm joined back here in the present day by the 2015 Offensive MVP Hannah Mazolewski and former assistant coach Matt Kendall. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Joe. Happy to be here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back.
It's been awesome catching up with everybody in this series. It's been the best part of it. I can only listen to myself call games for so long without it getting boring, so I need this. It's been 5 years since the two of you suited up in green and white. Hannah in the jersey, Matt generally in the polo shirt. What has life held for each of you in your time since DVC, and how are you staying sane with everything that's going on these days?
Gosh, first of all, I can't believe it's been 5 years. That blows my mind. But yeah, so after DVC, I transferred down to San Diego State University. And I played club soccer with them for about 2.5 years. I was a super senior. Super fun, got to keep playing, although it'll never be as competitive as it was at DVC. That was, that topped it all. But it was good. I recently moved back home to the East Bay, so I'm back in Concord. I had a job lined up and it fell through due to COVID, unfortunately. So I've had a lot of family time these days, and it's been good. Just been chilling, actively applying to jobs. Trying to figure out some grad school stuff. Also a full-time DoorDasher and Uber Eats driver these days. So
there you go.
If food delivered, hit me up.
So Matt?
So I've done a lot since then. When I was coaching there, I was also a full-time student at Cal City East Bay getting my bachelor's degree in PE because I wanted to be a PE teacher. I wanted to follow in coach's footsteps. So I actually finished my degree there. My wife now and I went to Cal City East Bay. We did it all together, and then we both graduated on the same day. We walked across the stage together, which was super cool. We kind of broke some rules and did that together. And then I actually asked her to be my wife at our graduation party, so I surprised her there with our engagement. And she said yes. And in September of 2019, we got married. And so we got married in Oakley, which was local by our house, and we got married there. It was an amazing, amazing wedding, best day of my life. And then a week later, we actually got full-time custody of her uncle's child. So her uncle went away and couldn't have him anymore, so we decided to take him in full-time. So a week after we got married, we took in a 5-year-old, and he became ours, and he's full-time with us every day for a long time from now until things kind of get situated. So we got married and got a 5-year-old, so that was really crazy. And then within that process, I became a full-time PE teacher at a few different schools and kind of bumped around because that's what you do when you're teaching first. Kind of you get into a job, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we got budget cuts, you go somewhere else. So I went to a few different schools. I'm at O'Hara Park in Oakley, California now at a middle school. And eventually I want to come back to the green and white and come back to the Vikings stadium and hopefully become a PE teacher at DVC and kind of become coach's main assistant and kind of work with her until she retires and hopefully take her spot one day if she'll allow it. But I don't know. Coach is never going to leave that job. Yeah, no, but hopefully I'll be able to go there and be an assistant again because that's my ultimate goal is to kind of coach and teach at a junior college level.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thanks.
Congrats, though, on everything. Wow. What an
Thank
eventful
you.
5 years it's been for you.
Oh, it's been a crazy 5 years, and it's not stopping now.
It occurs to me, I've done a ton of these interviews now, and I'm hearing what everybody else has been doing for 5 years, and you mentioned being married. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's happened to me in the last 5 years, too. So,
right on.
So yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
We're all catching up.
Look at you guys.
I know, all adult and stuff.
Yeah.
Only took till I was pushing 40, whatever. Okay.
Hey, at least you got there.
Now this Delta rivalry that you guys had, it really became a big story in the 2016 season, but I feel like it kind of began becoming a thing in 2015. And what in general is your memory of these matchups that we had over those 2 years with Delta, either this one in particular or just the rivalry as a whole?
So I honestly couldn't remember necessarily the whole game, in that specific game in general, but I know Delta was just a tough opponent in general. And I know whenever we played there, they had a wide field. And I remember that tiring us out quicker than normal. We had issues for a while just keeping the ball on the ground. Coach would get so frustrated. She's like, just keep the ball on the ground, settle it, have composure, be calm. And I feel like we really had to like learn to do that with that field. It was too wide. You can't have the ball going up the air. We were tiring ourselves out, running around like crazy. So, I remember it being a tough game where you had to like mentally be there. You had to be smart on the ball, like make sure you're making the right decisions, keep it low. Like, it was just, they were tough and they were strong. And I remember they had a center mid that I always had to like link up with and like keep my eye out for because she was quick and fast and really good on the ball. And so I remember them being tough. Like I think back to some of our opponents and I think they were definitely up there being one of the tougher ones.
And I completely agree. Delta has always been a rivalry for Coach for as long as she's coached there. And it's always a team that we always want to make sure that we win. And every time we went up against them, it was just a battle. And we all knew that as a coaching staff, and we knew that as a team that we had to go in with the correct mindset and really got to perform at our top ability to make sure we got the W at the end. And that last game, it was just a crazy game from the start of the whistle to the end. And we battled. And those times, bringing up that memory is just so great. And I wish I could be back there on that field and coaching again and watching those girls play, because it was the best time of my life and best coaching experience of my life.
And by this point, you all also had a way of making things very memorable for me, which was that you continued scoring these goals at the very, very tail end of halves, which was the wildest thing for a commentator, because 40 minutes of yap, 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 and then now I've got to actually project and celebrate. What was it about that team? What was it about the mindset? I don't know, Matt, if you want to speak a little bit to just what you feel was instilled in that team to let them be so strong right there at the close.
I think we battled. We battled every game. We would try and we never gave up. And that was one thing about that team that I will always remember, that those girls, when that whistle blew, they did not stop until that final whistle. And they were going to push through anything that came in their way, any battle. And always at the end of those halves, we always got a goal off. And me and Coach and Julio and Alex, we would all look at each other and be like, why couldn't that happen 20 minutes ago? Like, if that happened 20 minutes ago, it would have been smooth sailing. And every time we got that goal off, we finally got in our boots and we were like, okay, now we're ready. Now we can do this. And it was just something that we battled that all year with, just only if we scored earlier into the game, we could totally control the game from that point on.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, and I was talking with Kitson about this question before, and I'm like, I really feel like Coach's halftime speeches and all of you, like, they really just pumped us up, and I feel like second half we would come on the field with a new energy. And I remember second half hits, like, gotta leave it all out on the field. Like, it's happening, it's now or never, like, get it done, like, this is why we're here, like, make it happen. And I remember coming out with, like, a new, like, fresh mindset. I'm like, okay, we only have, we gotta make it happen. Like, it's second half, like, it's time to do it. Us were just like, probably it's telling of the group of girls that we were, just procrastinated,
Yep.
On and off the field. Just wanted to keep you guys excited, keep you guys on your toes. But also, I feel like Kits and I were talking about this too. We had a really strong bench. So if people were getting tired towards the end of the game, we had fresh feet to come in and, take over and help us finish strong and get those last minute goals. So it was a strong team on and off the field. Like our bench players were just as strong. And like whenever someone was getting tired, no problem. We had someone, just as capable of getting the job done. So.
But I think you hit a great point, Maz. Like, personality plays a huge role. And all of you girls had the same exact personality of,
I know
you guys were procrastinators. But at the end of the day, you got it done. And that was the biggest thing. You guys got it done in school. You procrastinated and drove Coach crazy with grade checks. But at the end of the day, you got it done. And then same on the field. So I feel like personalities do play a huge role in teams.
Totally. Yeah, we manifested on the field. That's for sure.
Well, and I remember so vividly, Hannah, you had one of the very first ones of those against American River, I think maybe a week prior to this game, and just drilled one from the top of the box on the volley after a punch out. And yeah, that might have been the first goal we had that sent me into total hysterics, where I listened to it later. I'm like, I don't recognize that voice. I don't know what that is. And yeah, if we had video of it, that one would for sure be on here, but unfortunately it just has to live in our minds.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was an awesome moment.
Now, I used to ask a question during the sophomore interviews, and I get to ask Kendall now, because if I'd known that you weren't going to be back in 2016, I would have done an interview with you. But it was always this question of, what do you think will be the most, the first thing that jumps to your mind 5 years from now when somebody talks to you about DVC soccer? And so now I get to actually ask you what it turned out to be. So why don't we go ahead and start with Hannah on this one? When you hear Vikings, what's the first thing that pops to mind?
Gosh, honestly, I was getting a little bit emotional when I was thinking back to those times, because we really were such a tight-knit squad, like on and off the field. We spent so much time together, like we really did become a family. And I'm really, I'm blessed to have such good relationships with a lot of the girls still. But I look back and I think Coach just really, honestly, just cared so much about all of us and put so much energy into us, keeping us, we were a handful. I know we were, thinking back to our group, we kept Coach on her toes, all of you on her toes. But, she cared so much about, our playing on the field, but also about our academics and doing the grade checks and making sure we were focused and, getting everything done. And I feel like she just really instilled a strong work ethic in me too, something that I've carried on since then. And again, I think back to those relationships, and we had such amazing supportive coaches and Joe, you were always there supporting us every step of the way. I was talking to my mom earlier too, and she was like, oh, I remember Joe. How could you forget Joe? His enthusiasm, he was pumping you guys up. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Biggest hype man. But no, I'll always love thinking back to those days. Vikings for life, such great memories on and off the field that I'll always remember and value all those friendships and relationships.
So for me, when I think of Vikings, I think of family. Maz just said it. Coach, I was a young coach. I was maybe 2 or 3 years older than most of those girls. And some of them were my same age. And when they found out that, they were like, no way, you're the same age as us. And I was just starting off in my career. I coached maybe 3 or 4 years before that, but at low levels. And Coach gave me this amazing, amazing opportunity to coach there. And I learned so much from her. She knows how to run a soccer program from the bottom to the top. She knows the ins and outs, and she, I believe, did an amazing job and still does an amazing job to this day. And like Hannah Maz said, she built that family atmosphere. We were with each other a lot. We were in van rides a lot. We were at practice a lot. Coach had morning practices with you guys. You guys were her family, and she was yours. And when I think of Viking soccer, Coach just embodies everything that a ultimate coach should. She looks at all aspects of the game, the mental side, the physical side, the emotional side, the academic side, because that's a huge point that comes when you play college soccer, is you need to have the academics. And I loved how Coach was a teacher and a coach at the same time, so she could keep you guys both on your toes. On both sides of that spectrum. And I remember so much from her, and I owe it to her, because she's the kind of one that led me in the direction that I am now and led me to go get my master's, because that was not even a thought I had. I wanted to become a PE teacher at an elementary school. And now, because of my experience there and because of Viking soccer, it gave me the outlook of, okay, I can do more with my life. I can go get a master's degree. And when I got it, Coach was one of the people that I thought of the whole entire time I walked across that stage, was like, oh my God, it's because of Coach that I'm here. Because if it wasn't for her and that opportunity, I would have never thought of getting my master's and going coaching at a junior college or teaching at a junior college. So when I think of her, it's a lot for me. And I really appreciate her and the girls and my experience there, because that was one of the experiences, like I said, best coaching experiences of my life.
I've taken the opportunity getting you all here in these interviews to kind of flip this around, since I've made you all answer this question, and tell you a bit about the first thing that pops to mind for me when I think of each of you. Because if I brought you in, you made an impression, obviously. And Matt, for sure, it's just you and Julio. I remember just being a huge part of the welcome I felt there. Your willingness to sit down and talk with me about the game. Even though I have no coaching experience, I really barely played. I was 6 years old, but treated me as somebody who was worth your time, and who was worth giving those little nuggets of knowledge to, and just always so welcoming. Made me feel like a part of that family right from the get-go. And Hannah Maz, for you, actually, you mentioned, getting a little emotional thinking about this question this time. And it's the emotion that you showed the first time I asked you this question 5 years ago that sticks out in my mind, because you and Kappa had this, I remember feeling bad about asking the question afterwards. Because I asked, what do you think you'll most remember? Who are you going to miss playing with the most? And both of you were in tears by the end of it. And it hit me how much this meant to you. And I think it was exemplified by that. And it made me even more attached to it now. Because I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that's kind of living and dying with this. It was amazing. Also that goal against ARC. But do you have any shout outs you'd like to do for friends, former teammates, coaches that might be watching today?
Joe, I actually want to say something before we go into shout outs. I want to give a shout out to you. You have been a huge role of DVC soccer since that first day you came with us, and me and Julio sat down with you, and me and Julio thought it was the coolest thing in the world that someone would take their time to come and do this, because Julio being a soccer coach for thousands of years and me just starting off, but playing for my whole life, I was like, this is so cool having a commentator there and kind of just diving into our games and watching our games and commentating, because that's so cool that nowhere else has. Like, I don't see any other junior college have that. But like I said, Coach has a number one program, I believe, and you're part of that number one program, because if it wasn't for you, our games wouldn't be the same. I could have remember just sitting on the bench, and you're always like maybe 10 or 20 feet from the bench when we were at away games, or even at home games when you're on top of the trailer. And
I trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, but we could just hear you. And me and Julio loved it. We just loved listening to you and hearing you commentate, because it was awesome. It's like never a dull moment. And when I got this phone call from you, I'm like, Joe, this is awesome. Like, I just thought, okay, ever since I ended there, I would never hear from you again. But look at that. Like, you are still a huge part of this program, because you're keeping this program alive. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come on with you guys again. And hopefully I'll be back there one day coaching, and hopefully you'll still be there and commentating and everything, because you're a huge, huge role in that program. So I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Going off of that, I just have to add in too, you just invested so much of your own personal time and energy, which you did not have to do at all. And you did it, and you made it so much more of a meaningful experience for all of us. It was also so awesome. Like, we felt like professionals. We're like, we have our own commentator, like hyping us up, like getting us excited for these matches, and like you're on the car rides with us too. Like, it was just so much fun. Like,
well, I have to tell you, one of my favorite little silly stories about this is, so my wife hasn't been to many DVC games, but she came to one, I think it was 2 years ago, actually maybe last year. And, we're hanging out over at the scorer's table. Nowadays, I just call the road games. I do public address at home. And so I'm sitting there, doing my thing, and she looks around, and it just kind of hits her all of a sudden. You mentioned, Maz, like feeling like professionals. Apparently I do a very good convincing job of that on the radio, because she's looking around the field and she just kind of has a moment of clarity and goes, oh, that's right, they're children. And like, it wasn't what she was picturing, like, just listening to it on the radio. And so I contended that actually meant I wasn't doing a very good job, because it wasn't entirely authentic and truthful, because I painted a very different picture.
Honestly, I've got to shout out Annie. She did, I'm not sure if she's still there, but she did so much for us. We gave her a run for her money, like missing jerseys, wrong numbers, whatever, forgetting our jersey. She was just the best, and she was always there helping us out. She was really working behind the scenes, and I don't think she got enough credit. And she did so much for us, and I just need to shout out her, because I hope she's doing well.
So I have two shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Julio. Those of you that don't know, Julio's in Florida now. He runs a huge soccer organization there. He's one of the assistants on an indoor soccer team, and one of the assistants on a UPSL 1 team. So he's doing amazing things in Florida. He absolutely loves it. When he left me, it was a huge heartbreak. because as all you know, Julio's been like a father figure to me for years. I started playing with him when I was a freshman in high school, and he's kind of taken me under his wings ever since then and brought me through the ropes of coaching. And the coach I am today is a lot of Julio. And Hannah, you probably know that because a lot of the things Julio does as a coach, I do the exact same. We just have two different personalities. But I want to give a shout out to him, and I want to give a shout out to Annie. I absolutely love that woman. She always has some amazing stories. I would literally show up to campus early because I was still coming back from college. So I would come back to the field early, and I could just remember sitting there with Annie out on the golf cart, and she would just tell me 1,000 different stories. And I miss her so much. And she was a huge part of that program that a lot of people don't see, because a lot of people don't see you, Joe, and a lot of people don't see her. But you guys are two massive parts of that organization that a lot of people don't see because you're not a part of that coaching staff that everyone looks at. But you guys are a huge part, and I miss her, and I hope she's doing well, Annie. And one day I'm going to get down there and I'm going to see you again, and I'm going to take you out to lunch and figure out how you've been.
Love that.
Annie is most assuredly still there. In fact, you all missed in 2016 her and me having to, with the assistance of California Highway Patrolman Will Lee, change a tire on the side of the road on the way to a game at Sierra.
Oh my God.
No way.
It's my favorite Annie story. My goodness.
That is Annie. I would not doubt that at all. And I bet you she was the first one out there in the middle of the road trying to get down on that ground, changing that tire.
I love that.
No, it was bonkers. And I may not be seen much, but I know that everybody hears the hell out of me. So
and we love it.
And we do. Love it. Let's take a thing.
There's no hiding me. All right. Well, thank you, Hannah and Coach Matt, for spending a little time with us today. We're about ready for second half action here on Vikings Soccer Rewind, and I'm going to provide you with a couple little nuggets to think over as we head back to the field. Number one, coming in, DVC had lost 15 straight games when they conceded the first goal. That's bad. Number two, the Vikings were also undefeated at home that year. That's good. Number three, Delta was the last visitor that had won at Vikings Field on October 31st, 2014. Is the Frogurt also cursed? Let's find out together, shall we? Back to Pleasant Hill for the second half of DVC Delta, 2-1 Mustangs as we restart on Vikings Soccer Rewind. To it. Ramos, Seguir, and Scannell are the attack to get started here. It is again Silva, Jaime, and Mazolewski in the midfield. The DVC players getting a little... giving the referee a little talking to about, hey, could we please get this underway? The huddle going on a little longer than they might have liked for the Delta players. At the back, it does appear to be Kappa, Dargan, Callaway, and Weinstein. Katie McLaughlin takes up her station in goal in place of Sammy Hebbing, as they've done. So besides that one swap, it is the same starting lineup that we saw in the first half, and we are back underway. Ball in possession for a moment here of Delta, trying to work a ball forward for Cianez. Tries to let that run. Kappa gets to it, but her clearance goes very lateral. Weinstein knocks that off of Muñiz, the 2-goal scorer from the first half. She's back on it, puts it onto her right from the left side. Here comes a cross in. It's a little bit too deep for Cianez, and Kappa beats Wallace to it. Pushed forward by Hannah Mazolewski. Claimed by Seguir on the right side, far sideline here for the DVC defense. Silva looking for a change, trying to get this to curl into space for Scannell. Cleared away instead by the defense. Silva beaten there by the 19 Garcia. Martinez battling for it, as is Yasmin Jaime, and Yazzie takes it away, sprays it down the right side for Haley Seguir to try to get to. Here comes Haley working her way down the flank. Two Vikings in the box are Ramos and Scannell. Haley from the top right corner puts in the cross, a little too close to Ridge and a little too high for Ashley. But within the first minute, first attempt by DVC to get a little something on frame. Your halftime statistics, again, DVC out shooting Delta 5-4, but 4-3 the shots on goal count. The ball is pushed immediately forward for Seguir, trying to get to this before it goes out of play on the right side. She will be able to, and beats the midfielder Lopez to it. Two of them working on it. Seguir touches it behind herself. It lands right on the byline and sticks there. Lopez onto it, trying to work her way forward, and Seguir is whistled for the fourth foul today against DVC. 4-1 the count on those. Again, 1-1 on corners, 2-1 your scoreline. Muñiz in the 27th, Curran in the 34th, Muñiz again in the 35th. And we did have a mistake earlier, which was that it is actually Rachel Cianez that put in the ball for that Munoz ran onto for the first goal of today's encounter. So it is her assist, her 5th of the season. Munoz with goals number 11 and 12. For JC, it was the 4th goal of her season and her first in Big 8 play. Haley Segir getting herself onto the assist portion of the score sheet for the first time after getting her first goal of her green and white career last week against Sacramento City. Ball played down the left side in the direction of Estela Rodriguez, but Weinstein is going to beat her to it. Played out on the far sideline and into some picnickers over there underneath the big oak tree down by that corner flag. Managed to play it off of a Delta player, however. It's going to be a throw-in for DVC. Weinstein putting this down the right side, ends up with Wallace. Silva challenging for it. Wallace able to keep the ball in play and brings it forward for Munoz. Drop back for a teammate, now back for Garcia, and it's a very strong ball, almost got by her. Scannell now pressuring Piseno, trying to take it away. She and Sotelo are again the back pairing. Although it does look like Amanda Lopez may now be playing in the left back position after Haley Segir torched Hunter Wells down toward the end of the first half. Ball brought forward for Delta. They're about 30 yards or so from goal. Working around, a player was Martinez. Threads the ball through, looking for Munoz. Munoz trying to step around a defender. McLaughlin comes out and stops that at point-blank range. Big stop on Delta's 5th shot on goal today. But Katie McLaughlin, who... well, I'm not going to say what her statistics look like because I'm absolutely terrified of jinxing her, but take a trip yourself over to 3c2asports.org, and with any luck, they will not have changed in the interim between me saying this and the podcast being put up. Ball forward, cleared away from the feet of a Delta player, and taken away by Yasmin Jaime in the midfield from Wallace. Jaime dancing around Aubrey Kimball, and now loses out to Wallace, but she shows way too much of that ball to the sideline. It's going to be a throw-in for the Vikings from the left. Worked quickly forward for Ramos. Knocks the ball down with her left foot. Now wraps herself around it. Plays the 1-2 with Mazolewski. Works forward and gets it into space in the center for Ashley Scannell. And she sees Segir on the overlap. Ball touched away. Haley! Knocked down inside the 18 on the collision as the ball's played away. It should be a goal kick. So the last touch deemed to have been made by Haley Segir as she rushed in on that. A beautiful ball in from Scannell. Segir did nearly get herself on that, but must be said, great work by the defender tracking back again. That's the 19, who I believe is Lola Garcia. Although there is no 19 on my roster. Goal kick to come, and Ridge will let Ashlyn Sotelo, the 15, take this. Ball drifting downward, popped up by the head of Yasmin Jaime, now again by Estela Rodriguez out towards the left side near Munoz. Weinstein will get there first, plays us down the right flank, and a whole bunch of Mustangs and Vikings running down in that corner. Walling off the attempted clearance by Garcia is Silva, but it's out for a Mustang throw here in the 5th minute of today's second half. So elsewhere in the Big 8 today, final match day of the first round of games, ARC and CRC are playing. They kicked off at the same time as us. My apologies, I neglected to go get the Sacramento Sierra result last night. They played last night at 6 p.m. And earlier today, Santa Rosa and Modesto faced off in a battle between the number 1 and number 3 teams in the Big 8. Of course, today is the number 2 and the number 4. A couple of nice results for DVC and Modesto could close up the Big 8 very, very quickly. Haley Segir looking to do that, has earned a ball near the sideline, working her way into the 18, shows too much of it to a defender. Still on it is Haley. Ball pops loose near Gabby Silva, but it's cleared before she can get to it. Rachel Cianes does well to turn and get that ball away from Capa. Works it to the right side now for Rodriguez, and it's Dargan getting there first. Dej held from behind, plays the ball forward though. Mazolewski on it. Trying to get this to Ramos, takes a deflection off of Cianes, and it's out for a throw. DVC take this quickly, just over the head of Scannell. She was trying to head that forward, and the whole sideline heard a little ooh as that ball went over her head. Little moment of levity here as the Vikings look to battle. You know, any good dramatic movie needs a little comic relief now and again. Here's a ball through by Lizzie Martinez, walled off though by the arrival instead, I think, of Yazzie. Played forward to Segir, trying to work this to the flank where Scannell was working. Nothing doing. Ball worked forward now by Delta. Near the top edge of the center circle. Work to the left for Lopez. Tries to put this into the flank. Weinstein there. Beats Munoz to it. Plays it up that sideline. It will stay in play. And possibly a problem for Haley Segir. Maybe a shoe issue, we hope, as she is down at the moment over on that sideline. And she seems to have a physical issue. No, that is not her looking to get a shoe. She is holding something and in some degree of discomfort on her knees out there. We'll see if the training staff is going to come out. They are immediately waved out. And so as they tend to Seguir and Julia Curran, it appears, gets ready to come in her place. We'll take a look again at that at the current state of the Big Eight. As we said, ARC and CRC facing off against each other. They are down in the lower reaches. ARC currently in 7th place as they finished last year on 6 points. Had a very, very bright start to their campaign, but have now lost 3 consecutive games, 2 in blowout fashion, and of course the heartbreaker against the Vikings. So they are in 7th now. They are facing off against CRC, who are tied for 5th place right now in the conference with Sierra on 7 points. CRC having recently gotten their first win against a team not named DVC, and that was over Sacramento. Of course, Sacramento still in 8th. They hosted Sierra last night. As we said, the top of the table right now starting to try to detach a little bit. Going enterprise style. Saucer section composed of Santa Rosa Junior College on 14 points, this Delta team on 13, Modesto on 12, and then a bit of a gap down to the Battle Bridge. DVC sitting there at the top of that grouping on 8 points, although certainly at risk of getting passed by Sierra and CRC if they aren't able to remedy things here today and come up with some points against Delta. A free kick given here at the midfield stripe after the ball was put back in play. It was indeed JC coming in place of Haley Seguir. The Vikings now with 5 fouls whistled against them today. The very first one of the game was against the Mustangs, but since then they have played clean, and DVC have been forced to rough those women up just a little bit. Again, 5-5. The shot count 5-3. Delta with the advantage in shots on goal at the moment, though. Ball claimed by DVC in the middle for a moment with Mazolewski. Works it through a couple of defenders. It comes out the other end to Jaime. Worked over the top now for JC to try to run onto this. Piseno talking with her goalkeeper. It's going to drift and get in there just before Curran can reach it. With the hands put out on the left side towards Lopez. Under pressure from Silva, able to manage that ball and get it back to Piseno. Sprays this out to the right side now for Cianes, trying to work against Capa. Puts it into the middle. Mazolewski walling off Wallace and taking the ball away. Brings it forward for Ramos at the center stripe. Tries to play that back to Mazolewski, but knocked it behind her. Cianes gets there first. Ramos tracking back, takes it away. Capa, Mazolewski, back ahead now for Ramos. Runs through her and Kimball. It's the Delta number 4 able to get back to that first. Trying to play it forward and towards the center of the three-quarter zone for Rodriguez. Claimed, however, by Dargan. Drops it back to McLaughlin. Her ball pops up on Jaime, claimed in the center here by Lizzie Martinez. Martinez trying to dribble through a few defenders, and she absorbs the 6th foul committed by the Vikings today and earns a free kick in a very dangerous position here. The clock currently stopped here on the field. The scoreboard clock not restarted after the injury to Seguir. So unclear exactly how much time we've got. Vikings set up the wall, 4 in it. Looks like Cianes and Wallace ready to take this from about dead center. And I'm estimating, because they're over at the far end of the field, but probably 25 yards or thereabout away from Katie McLaughlin's goal. She puts her defenders in place. As we said, 4 on the wall. Looks like Scannell, Jaime, Mazolewski, and Ramos in there. McLaughlin was at the right post and has now moved her way central, drifting even a little bit left behind that wall. Here's the run up from Cianes. Fires right into the wall. Cleared away by Mazolewski off Wallace. Comes free to Kimball. She tries to serve a ball back in. Knocked down for a moment. Wallace tries to thread it through. Calls for a handball. Not heeded by Mr. Linares in the center. And the Vikings work the ball off. Here's Carla Ramos on it. Carla mishits that ball forward a little bit, but it does get to Silva anyway. Brings it to the right side for Curran. She tries to switch it into the middle for Scannell. Popped up on her a little bit. Smashley gets to it, though. Tries to work this forward for Julia, and it's Piseno tracking back who gets there. JC had gotten off the shoulder of Lopez. Comes to Garcia, trying to play it down the left wing. That's going to go out for a Viking throw on the far sideline. So times from here out are going to be a little bit of an estimate. I believe that clock was stopped for somewhere around 11 or around 2 or 3 minutes there after the Seguir injury So looks like something around the 11th minute at the moment. Ball in possession of Delta, working down the left side, trying to thread in across. Walled off by DVC. Now earning the byline is the Delta player, and 3 DVC Vikings converge on that. Weinstein clears, but it will go out for a throw. So we mentioned the other games going on in the Big 8. DVC also having a busy day in general here. Games coming up later on today. Volleyball is going to be hosting Sacramento City at the gym just behind us. Football as well will be hosting De Anza at the stadium over to our right. So big day here for Vikings sports. We encourage you to get all your information over at dvcvikings.com. And of course, get yourself out and cheer on your Vikings from the stands. We've got a decent presence of Viking fans, both at the bleachers across the way and hanging out just behind us here near the player benches. As the Vikings again try to get out of their own end, but put the ball out on the far sideline. Throw in now comes toward Kiki Muñiz near the left side corner flag. Played away by Weinstein. Last touch by Gray. A throw in to come from a little further forward. It does look as though Lopez has taken up her spot now as the left back. She was originally in the midfield. Mistakenly thought she was the author of the assist for the first goal. Actually, Cianis. It's been an attacker's delight so far here. The left wing players with all 3 goals so far and looking for more. Here's the ball into the middle for Cianis by Muñiz. And thankfully for DVC, taken away at the last moment by Dargan, but Silva not quite able to hold the ball there. Lizzie Martinez sprays it out to the right side for Kimball. One touch to put it into the wing for Cianis. That ball will roll, and head out for a Viking throw. So it'll be a week-long break coming up after this as teams reset themselves and get ready to face all the same squads all over again. Same order, just different houses. As Delta lose a ball out the back as they were trying to work it towards the right side corner flag. Next Friday, DVC will be heading up to face Santa Rosa as Daisy Lozano is now brought in as a substitute. Daisy with 2 goals in Big 8 play. She and Hannah Mazolewski, the leading scorers in the conference for the Vikings at this point. So DVC will be up at Santa Rosa. Of course, that was a 0-0 draw the first time out. Santa Rosa looking an awful lot better now than they did, though. That'll be a 1 p.m. kickoff if you're thinking about making a trip. Good 1-2 between Mazolewski and Lozano, but the body pressure here of Aubrey Kimball keeps Daisy from getting there before it drifts out the sideline. And on the throw-in, Kappa, trying to keep Cianis from getting turned, commits the 7th DVC foul of the day. Half hour to go. 2-1 Delta in front. The goal from Kiki Muñiz in the 35th. Ending the Vikings' short-lived joy for their equalizer. Cianis on one hop puts that right over to the near post where Katie McLaughlin can latch on. And the Vikings are back in control. Elsewhere that day, also an early kickoff on Friday next week between Modesto and this Delta team. Delta with a 2-0 victory. Of course they had a victory. They hadn't lost any games up until this past Tuesday. So they had a 2-0 victory about a month ago when they faced off against each other the first time. Yasmin Jaime holding a ball over at the right side, tries to play it down the flank, but it goes out just across the midfield stripe. Delta throw over there from the far sideline. Also in action, ARC will host Sacramento City at the usual 3:30 start time. That was a 5-0 Beaver victory the first time out. And Cosumnes River and Sierra trying to move their way up the table today as they face off against teams number 7 and 8 in the conference. Will go up against each other in Sacramento at 7 p.m. the night before, Thursday, October 22nd. That one was a 2-2 draw the first time out. Ball in possession of Delta over at the far sideline, played into the center. A little bit errant, up steps Mazolewski, trying to blow by Lola Garcia. She does, trying to get back onto it now as Lopez looks to return. Mazolewski is beaten to it by the Delta captain. Ball popped up in the midfield, though, by Estela Rodriguez, claimed for a moment by Callaway and Jaime. Now it gets knocked away yet again. Muñiz trying to thread this into the center for Wallace. She gets it through the Viking defense here, trying to get it to Cianis. Cianis trying to get back onto it under pressure from Dargan, plays it off of Dej. Ball comes free, and Daisy Lozano, playing left back, is able to get onto that. Lost, though, to Wallace. Ball cleared right off of Megan Kappa's chest, though. Calls come from Sorensen. She thought that was a foul, or excuse me, a handball in all likelihood. Taken back again by Garcia. Plays this down the right side to Cianez. Nobody on her. Here comes Cianez. Crossing to the far post. Over the top and out the back. And it will be a goal kick here with about 28 minutes left. A substitute waiting for Delta. She will enter. It's the number 11, Hunter Wells, coming in for the 19. Again, the assumed Lola Garcia. So Wells will take up her station in the back line where she played most of the first half. And the 25, Lopez, goes into the midfield, and I do believe it's now the exact same starting lineup that we began the game with one exception, and that is Estela Rodriguez up top. And she is up there in place of the original starter in the center, which was Islava. Look out here, ball over the right side now for JC. Julia's going to get there first, tries to get around a couple defenders, beats Wells to it, puts it in on the ground for Scannell, but not quite strong enough. Cleared away by Sotelo. Up steps Weinstein at the right side at the midfield stripe. Puts this again over the top, looking for JC. Played away by Lopez and out for a throw. Substitute for DVC, Hannah Kidson, is going to come in for Smashley. The scoreboard clock reads 30 minutes to go. I believe it's probably closer to 27 at this point. So we've talked a little bit about the Big 8 table. DVC trying to make a big move on the power points table as well as they look to try to equalize this encounter against a team that is borderline undefeated. Hannah Kidson receives a throw. Looking for space to put in a cross. Banks it off of the Delta player and out for another Viking throw. 5 yards or so from the byline. In that power poll, this Delta team just was dethroned. They had been number 1 in Northern California from roughly the second or third week of the season onward. They are now number 2. Santa Rosa now in the number 1 position. Throw going towards the byline. Hits Kidson and goes out over the byline for a goal kick for San Joaquin Delta. Modesto remains in 4th behind Fresno. City College of San Francisco has jumped up and claimed the 5 spot with DVC vacating it. Vikings now 9th as they a substitution is authored here for San Joaquin Delta. Looks like Hunter Wells right back off, and entering is the number 12, who I don't think I've seen just yet today. The 12 is Jessica Hufford in the midfield. And the ball worked forward off the goal kick, claimed by Kidson here at the 3-quarter zone on the left side. Here comes Kidson's ball in, looking for Curran. Not quite long enough, though. Punched away by Piseno. Dej Dargan able to win the header here, working against Rodriguez. Punched it through her legs, but couldn't get it to a teammate. Does come free to Dom, though, and she has the nice vision to see Daisy Lozano over here on the left side. Daisy working over here against the 15, Sotelo, trying to get to the byline. Daisy working against Sotelo, plays it off of her, and the foul given against Lozano. Sotelo will take the the free kick rather quickly, punched forward immediately by Jaime, comes right back to Days. Works this forward for Kidson. A little bit of an excuse me hit, comes to Silva. Silva firing for the far post, but is not going to quite get it on frame. 6th shot today for DVC, which again, oddly considering the way this match has felt, they've got more shots so far than Delta, and they've almost put as many on frame. They've stood toe-to-toe with this team, but continue to occasionally run out of ideas here at this end. Long ball, header won by Jaime for a moment. Callaway brought to ground. No foul given for that, and the Viking bench explodes in rage. Played down the left side, looking for Estela Rodriguez and Kiki Munoz. Weinstein will get there first and play it out, but Vikings bench not happy about that lacking foul call just a moment ago there as Dargan was shoved over from behind. It certainly looked a fair bit more violent than what Daisy Lozano was sanctioned for moments prior. Ball towards the middle. Lozano wins the header in front of the 4, Kimball. Daisy trying to get onto this before Sotelo does. Sotelo gets there first. Lozano again trying to use the body. Ball played out off of Sotelo. Throw in to come for DVC. So we'd heard some issues about the slightly slower than usual game clock in the mind of Dom Callaway. Recently in the midfield, she's had her issues occasionally getting her head up and finding the open woman. A little too deliberate there as Kappa tries to get through Cianez and earn a ball. Loses out, though, as Wallace gets to it first. She's not able to keep the ball in play. Callaway's game clock, though, looked plenty quick on that last opportunity, feeding Lozano down the flank. That was a good bit of vision here as the throw is nudged forward by the head of Hannah Mazolewski to Kidson. Kidson pushes it forward, unfortunately, to no one in particular. Piseno claims it at the back of the center circle. Her ball forward also to no one in particular, claimed for a moment by Mazolewski and taken away by the opposing 13, Lizzie Martinez. She escapes Jaime and Mazolewski and now starts jogging out to the left side, and good work by Jaime to take the ball away, and now feeds this down the right flank for JC to run onto it. She'll get there before Piseno. Tries to touch it through Piseno. Still JC on it. The two of them come together, and the ball is taken away for a moment. JC back on it. Tries to square this up now for the arrival of Jaime. Getting there first was the 25 Lopez. Looked like she might have thrown Yazzie to ground, and again, nothing given. Lopez on it. Up steps Weinstein. Takes it away. Dre will get to this as it went by Yazzie, but Dre had a full head of steam. Plays it down the right side looking for JC. Lozano and Kidson making their runs from the right corner flag. JC's cross headed away by Sotelo. Tracking back to get there is Weinstein. Tries to serve it back in. Sotelo walls it off again. Ball played forward here, nudged by Rodriguez. Doesn't get it anywhere. Dargan almost gets there, and Mazolewski takes the ball off of a midfielder. Plays it down the right flank again. Here comes JC. Ridge coming out, and she'll claim it from just in front of Julia. Sliding in was the Vikings' most prolific scorer there, but not quite able to beat Ridge to that ball. 2-1 the score remains. Long ball headed forward by Hannah Mazolewski. Strong header in the direction of Cailin. Collision with Amanda Lopez. JC looking to get back to it before Lopez does. Not quite able to. Silva also trying, but it's punched forward by Lopez. Trying to find Cianez out there. Nothing doing. Punched away by DVC. Back in the defensive line. Hufford. Back to Piseno. Forward now, and Muñiz tries to get turned. Looks like she almost banked it off of Amanda Lopez there. The ball stays in play, though, on the far sideline. Long ball forward, headed by Capa, and it's going to carry to Rachel Cianez. Luckily, her first touch doesn't settle it terribly well. Capa goes tumbling, and the foul is given, only the second called against Delta today. And the first one since the very first foul of today's match. So Capa earning the Vikings a free kick. Delta with a pair of substitutions ready to be made in just a moment. About 22 minutes to go. As we said, DVC trying to break a recent trend. They need at least one goal to do that. Ball over the top, headed forward by Silva. Over the top, Kidson looking to get onto this. Sotelo comes back, good strong clearance, but it comes straight to Silva, and she feeds Cailin down the right side. 3-on-2 for the Vikings. Cailin crossing into the 18, arriving! The head of Gabby Silva, but it's just over the crossbar. A great piece of work there. Silva got it started, intercepted the clearance from Sotelo, fed Cailin on the right side, waited, got her way in there for that header, and just could not quite get on top of it. Substitutions in, Huffords and Rodriguez off, Wells back in, as well as the 19, Lola Garcia. What an opportunity there for DVC. Well created by the Silva-Cailin connection. Of course, they hooked up against Modesto. Look out, Mazolewski takes the ball off here in the three-quarter zone. Plays it into the center. Piseno dribbling into her own 6-yard box. Now clears it over to the left. Headed from just in front of Lozano by Kimball. And it comes as far as Cianez. Plays that off of Capa, and it will be a throw-in for Delta. What a heads-up play by Hannah Maz there a moment ago. Cross created all sorts of havoc in there. Delta had some coverage, but Piseno was running back in coverage at full speed and just barely managed to get there and keep it out of her own 6-yard box. Cianez recovering a throw-in after a couple of touches, banks it off of a DVC player, and it is a throw-in from near the corner flag, I think. Indeed it will be. Rachel Cianez to take that in just a moment. It is she, Muñiz. I think Hunter Wells right now up in the attack. I think Wells, instead of stationing herself at left back, she's listed as a defender/forward, and she's doing the other half of that right now. Ball played forward by Delta. Sotelo able to get onto it. Banked off of a DVC player, I believe Gabby Silva. Sotelo will take the throw-in in just a moment. Substitutions awaiting for DVC. Ramos and Harris ready to get in. Ball played forward by Yasmin Jaime. It's going to settle nicely here for Lozano. Has Cianez tracking back. Here comes Lozano. Dribbles it through one defender. Trying to get her way around Kimball as well. And puts it into the middle for Silva. Silva, first touch right into the middle. Up Route 1. Almost found Kidson. Piseno got it stuck in her feet for a second. I thought Hannah Kidd was going to get on that. Long ball forward. Headed by a DVC defender. Capa will drop it all the way back to McLaughlin. Katie Mack over to the right. Headed forward by San Joaquin Delta, covered by Callaway. Brings this through the midfield, knocked down neatly by Silva, and finds the on-rushing Hannah Mazolewski, and there's an overlap coming from Lozano if Kidson can find it. Here it comes, ball through to Daisy on the left side. Here comes Daisy, crossing, far post, waiting for it over there was JC, headed away, knocked down by Silva, but it's going to carry too long for her. Cleared away now, great attack by DVC, just couldn't quite get on the end of that cross. Hunter Wells on the dribble down the left sideline, forced to come to a stop under the pressure of Weinstein, drops it back to a teammate. Central now for Martinez. Popped up over the top now, Dej Dargan steps up and punches the ball toward the left flank. Controlled by Wells, great move to make Weinstein go flying by. Played forward and finds an offside Megan Wallace. DVC free kick to come, 4 substitutions prepared, 3 for the Vikings, 1 for the Mustangs. We'll see if we're going to take them right now. No signal yet for Mr. Linares. It will be a free kick for DVC from their defensive third. Looks like Dom about ready to punch this one long. She'll move it slightly forward here. The scoreboard clock claiming 20 minutes. Again, I believe about 18, maybe 17. Callaway, long ball over the top now on the right side. Handling that is Kidson. She's able to stay there under pressure from the 17. Piseno tries to drop this back for Gabby Silva, taken away though by a pair of San Joaquin Delta Mustangs. Worked forward towards Muñiz. Can she keep the ball in play against Callaway? No. Dom diving, trying to fire the ball forward, but it goes out for another Delta throw. Could operate the sub now. Delta's got one waiting. We'll see. And I believe, yes, Mr. Linares has motioned for that to be done. Vikings can already feel pretty good at the moment about getting that goal in the back of the net. This is a team that before conceding 3 against Santa Rosa was riding a 750-plus minute non-conceding streak. For DVC, Curran, Silva, and Capa out in Gomez, Harris, and one other player who I didn't quite... Oh, Ramos. Comes the throw in down the left flank, looking for Kiki Muñiz. Muñiz working her way towards the byline. Now into the box. Drops this off for a teammate, and Gomez is able to clear. Popped up in the air by the center back Piseno towards the 18-yard box. Cleared more decisively now, and held by Kidson at the center circle. Hannah Kidd putting it down the right flank, looking for Hannah Harris to run onto it. Can she beat Piseno there? She does. Dribbles it by Piseno, working to the right side, trying to find room for a cross near the byline. The ball goes out the back. Goal kick. Apparently unable to get it to deflect off the Delta player. It'll be a goal kick for the Mustangs. Before Tuesday, this team had trailed for exactly 10 minutes this season. They'd had a couple of games that stayed 0-0 for an awfully long time, but most notably that one against American River that they ended up winning 1-0 on an 83rd minute goal by Sanchez. Today, the Vikings unable to hold them scoreless, but they were able to answer that first tally. Just could not keep them penned in for very long after that. Ball worked forward towards the 21 Islava, back into the game for San Joaquin Delta. That was their substitute. Tries to play it down the left wing for Wells. Muñiz doubling up Callaway over there, and they've taken the ball away from DVC. Played into the middle for Cianes. Cianes on it, top of the 18, advantage played by Mr. Linares. Here comes the shot by Muñiz, and it's well high and off towards the right side. So the Vikings' blushes are spared as we enter the final quarter of an hour of today's game, and I start yet again to think about the Vikings' propensity for scoring goals late. 2 goals against Modesto in the final 5 minutes. The game winner in stoppage time against ARC. Seguir's goal against Sacramento City. It's 3 straight games, 4 goals in that time, scored in the final 5 minutes. And that was after Lozano had opened the scoring for DVC in the final 5 minutes of the first half against American River. Ball controlled for a moment by DVC, now back with Delta on the right side, taken away by the pressure of Yasmin Jaime. Ramos on it, trying to dribble through a player, gets herself turned nicely around Wallace. Forward now for Kidson, backtracks Wallace, takes the ball off of her. And Kimball tries to serve this back down the right side. Dej Dargan tracking back. She'll knock this all the way back to McLaughlin with pressure coming from Muñiz. Kamak puts her foot through that, knocked down by Islava, but taken away by Amanda Gomez. Going down the right side, trying to find Hannah Harris. First touch is pretty long there by Lopez. almost fell for Kidson. DVC back in control, ball forward for Hannah Harris. Heads it forward in the direction of Kidson. Got it past the defender for a moment, but it stayed right there for her. Controlled now by Islava. Trying to spring Delta down the right side through Muñiz. Tracking back again is Dargan. Great brick wall work by Dej, trying to get the ball out of here now. Drops it back for Yazzie, who hoofs it towards the right flank. Pisano and Kidson pursuing, and Hannah Kidson's taking the ball away. 2-on-3 for the Vikings. Kidson working her way to the right side, trying to get a cross in. Pisano might have gotten the touch. Corner kick, DVC. Second of the game, Carla Ramos will go to take it. Kidson takes up her station. Harris, Gomez, and Mazolewski in that area. Yasmin Jaime working her way in too. Nope, never mind. Yazzie stays back, along with Lozano, Weinstein, Dargan, and Callaway. But everybody else for the Vikings right now in. Now Yazzie comes forward. Mazolewski near the penalty dot. Gomez at the edge of the 18. Yazzie starting to make a run. Harris and Kidson, the two Hannahs, at the posts. Here comes the ball in from Carla Ramos. Getting in there is Gomez. It takes a couple deflections off of a few Delta players, and it's out for another Viking corner, third of the game. Within the final quarter of an hour. Same spots. Weinstein now also lurking just outside the 18. Here comes the ball in near Gomez. Tries to get ahead to it. Punched away by the Delta defense. Comes free to Weinstein. Trying to get onto this ball and can't quite escape with it. Ball played forward now, and it's going to be Kiki Muñiz on it. Working on Dej Dargan. And Dargan wins this again. Dargan hoofs it down the left flank. Can Hannah Harris get there? Sotelo back in the coverage. Harris trying to hold him there and blocks the passing lane to Kimball. It's going to be a throw-in for the Vikings from the Delta half. Weinstein, who's moved herself over here to the left, actually, gets this, puts the throw in towards Gomez, but it runs a little too long for her, trying to hold the ball in on the left side. There is Lozano. Long ball forward, headed by Wallace in the direction of Cianes. It's going to come to Yazzie first. Played down the left flank. Hannah Harris getting there as the ball curls and stays in play. Kimball with a touch to it. Two of them body up. Kimball plays it off of Harris. Harris crossed in the 18. Arriving Ramos tries to knock it down. Can she keep it in play? No. Great ball in from the left by Hannah Harris. Ramos was coming in with a head of steam. It took a funky hop on her. She had to try to knock that down and stop it to put a shot in. In similar situations, we have seen her take a swing and a miss at balls like that as she was running at full speed. This time elected instead to try for the stop, but couldn't quite domesticate it. Goal kick taken by Sotelo. Over the head of Ramos, knocked down by Jaime. Lozano nudges it forward along the far sideline. Working now against the 25 Lopez, and Ramos has taken the ball away. Carla, forward now for Hannah Kidson. Kidson on the right, Pisano trying to get in the way. Puts the ball in right at the edge of the 18-yard box, popped up by Sotelo. The header gets a little further away and is going to still be claimed for a moment by San Joaquin Delta. Mazolewski gets on the ball now, trying to dribble her way to the right side. Sliding challenge by Lopez takes it away from DVC's 13. Up steps Lozano, trying to take the ball off of Madeline Islava as she works her way towards the left side of the midfield. Bends this around the sideline and tries to find the 24, Rodriguez. Taken away by Callaway. Dom trying to control. Double team comes. Dom's clearance is off of a Delta player and out for a goal kick. Roughly 10 minutes left. Substitution time, one aside. Gabby Silva to re-enter. Had the ball of the potential equalizer fall to her head. Not quite able to convert, though. Amanda Gomez coming off for her. Lizzie Martinez, meanwhile, enters for San Joaquin Delta, and it looks like somebody has taken the long walk all the way around, and they are far too far away for me to tell who it is. Kappa preparing to enter as well, but Kappa hasn't actually come off. Looks like Daisy Lozano is trying to leave the field, and so they will actually offer the substitution right now. Megan Kappa comes on for Daisy. I don't think that was the original intention, but that's what they'll do. Lozano got the signals crossed and was taking the walk around. So Kappa into the defense. She is on the right back position. Weinstein at left. It is currently Kidson, Ramos, and Harris the attacking trident. Ball over the right side looking for Ramos, and she's trying to take a ball off Piseno. Looks like she did. She's held by Piseno. That's got to be a penalty kick for DVC, and it is indeed. Yesenia Piseno holding on to Carla Ramos with about 9 minutes left to go. And it's going to be a penalty for DVC. It's the first one that has been given to them. And so we're going to find out a little something. Who is it that takes the Vikings PKs? And I think we heard from the sideline it will be Hannah Mazolewski. And I will clear my throat and warm up. Big opportunity here from the penalty dot. Hannah Mazolewski versus Shauna Ridge. Ridge is a big goalkeeper. She gets in a deep crouch. Woman in pink against the lean, mean 13 in green. Here comes the whistle. Mazolewski. Goal! Go, 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 go! Hannah Mazolewski! For the third time in 4 games, Hannah Mazolewski scoring the Vikings' second goal of an encounter. It extended the lead against Sac City. It was the game winner against ARC, and today her third goal to lead all Vikings conference scorers from the dot has put them level with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. Substitution time for Delta. The scoreboard clock says 10 minutes. Again, I believe we're a little closer to the end than that. And DVC get a goal that is not in the final 5 minutes. They've come awfully close to doing that twice today, but this one here in what I believe to be minute number 83. Carla Ramos on the ball, the woman who earned the Vikings penalty kick. She's on this right here. Tries to thread this through a couple defenders for Hannah Kidson. Taken care of, though, by Lola Garcia at the far sideline. Tries to loop this down the left side for Kiki Muñiz. Cleared away from just in front of her. Last touch by a Viking. Mazolewski right now, in terms of goal scoring, just impossibly hot at the moment. Ball forward now for Yasmin Jaime. Not quite able to hold that under the pressure. Ball thrown down the left flank by San Joaquin Delta. Yazzie gets in the passing lanes again, puts it out for another throw-in. Here comes the toss down the left flank. Hit with the head, I believe, of Megan Kappa. Jaime gets onto it, plays it into the center now. DVC pressing for a game winner. Hannah Kidson on it. Kidson, a little bit of a hop and a skip and a jump, and works it to the right side now for Ramos. Scoots around one defender. Carla Ramos into the middle in the direction of Hannah Harris, but it's not quite going to reach her. Cleared away. Jaime heads it towards the right sideline. That is going to end up out for a Delta throw. Coaching staff may want to ask the referee exactly how much time is in fact remaining at this point. Like I said, clock was stopped for a good 2, maybe 3 minutes earlier. And I'm not certain anything was done to compensate for that. Mr. Linares looking over and checking his watch at the moment. DVC, though, level right now. 2-2 your score. Throw in for the Vikings. Kappa down the line, now pushes it forward in the direction of Kidson. Last touched by a Delta Mustang. And substitution time for DVC. Curran and Sagir, the connection that led to the equalizer back in the first half. Looking to hook up for a little something here. Hannah Harris. A very bright portion of play here in the middle of the second half. And Carla Ramos also coming off after having earned the penalty kick. Curran and Sagir head to the flanks. Bracketing Hannah Kidson in the middle. Throw in to Silva at the far sideline, working against Amanda Lopez, trying to get around her. Silva still on it. Foul whistled, and it's given against Silva. 9th one whistled against DVC today to 2 for Delta. Otherwise, Vikings out shooting Delta 8-4, holding pretty steady with them 5-4 in shots on goal, level on goals 2-2, and leading in corner kicks 3-1. Long ball by Delta off the free kick. Handled for a moment by Muñiz and now taken away by Hannah Mazolewski. Here comes Hannah Maz, spraying it down the right side. Foot race between Curran, Kidson, and Piseno. Ball's cleared away and put into a good position here for Sotelo to get there with a little bit of time. A little further forward, and Silva might have had a chance to rob her blind there. Mazolewski tracking back from behind, nearly does take a ball away. Muñiz now working against Callaway. Muñiz gets through Callaway. Ball still knocking about there. Got through her for a moment, now played over to the right flank. Nobody moving there except for Haley Sagir. Haley gets onto it for DVC, tries to play this up the sideline, has a little curve, might stay in. Now the Crown doesn't take it out before Sotelo gets there, and Dre Weinstein takes it away and seems to be holding Dre. is Sotelo, played off of Seguir, ball still alive. Last touched by Delta, according to Mr. Linares, who's the only one with an opinion who counts. Long throw here for Haley Seguir. She's looking to get onto this behind Aubrey Kimball. Still Haley working to the byline. Can she get in a cross? Puts it into the 6, but didn't get enough contact to it. Cailin and was running in towards the far post, but it just dribbles to Shauna Ridge. '87th, I believe. The minute right now, as we said, Viking time. Ball worked forward in the direction of Hannah Kidson, cleared from in front of her. Controlled over at the far sideline by Rodriguez, drops it back to Lopez. Cailin showing pressure, centrally for Garcia. Works this to a teammate, Lizzie Garcia, with Martinez rather, with a little bit of time. Sprays this over to the right for Wallace, up steps Weinstein and punches it away. Kidson trying to hold the ball there, and she does. Touches it away from Garcia. Sees Cailin leaking out over on the right side from an onside position. Cailin is going to get to that before it goes over the sideline. Here come 3 Vikings into the box looking for service. Here's the ball in from JC, and it drifts out the back. Fury from the coaching staff right there. A really good opportunity, and this is that moment where you need JC to keep her head up. Vikings looking to drop. Cannot let the disappointment get in the way here. Scoreboard clock again showing 5 minutes. To wit, I believe we've got about 3 to go. Goal kick to come in a moment here. DVC squandering a nice opportunity just a moment ago, but Gabby Silva wins the header off the goal kick from Sotelo. Drop back now to the center back. Pops this ball up over at the left flank. And that's going to be claimed over there by JC. Cailin on it, trying to dribble her way through Lopez. Goes for the 1-2 with Scannell, but the return ball is too central and is claimed by the tall center back for San Joaquin Delta. DVC trying to find the pressure and take the ball right back. Scannell works it into the center. Look out, giveaway for Wallace. Ball pops up over here by Callaway. Munoz reaches out and nearly does take it away. Jaime tracking back, slides and pushes that out the sideline for the Vikings. Continue to watch Mr. Linares for any indication of how much time might be remaining. Again, scoreboard clock says 4:10, but I'm not certain it's correct. Throw in to come from the corner flag. Jaime bodying up a player, and the ball's taken off. Here comes a shot from distance. McLaughlin dives and saves it. 6th shot today by Delta. They've put all 6 of them on goal. Kiki Munoz buried 2 of them, her 11th and 12th goals of the season, but the Vikings responded once. Haley Seguir finding Julia Cailin for the equalizer in the first half, and they've responded again here in the second half, picking up a penalty kick goal to equalize. Minutes left from Pleasant Hill, 2-2. Ball work down the right flank for San Joaquin Delta. Cleared by DVC. Last touch is off of a Delta Mustang. Throw in to come for the Vikings from the near sideline. Comes the throw from Dre. Knocked down by the chest of Ashley. Dribbles it to the left side. Puts this over the shoulder of Seguir, trying to get onto it. And the clearance from Sotelo bangs off of Seguir, and for a moment it looked like it might sit there for her to get back onto it, as 2 of the tallest players on the field collided for that ball, but the tallest, Ms. Ridge, able to get to it. The ball now back over on the other flank, and here comes McLaughlin. Wild idea, slides in at the edge of her 18 over by the top right corner and ends a potential Delta attack before it even gets started. McLaughlin puts her foot through it. We see some signals. I think that might have been the 2 minutes to go signal from Mr. Linares in the middle. Silva intercepts the ball, puts it over the top on the right side, looking for JC, gets onto it, holds the ball in play at the far sideline. JC crossing towards the top of the 18, drifts laterally. Haley's going to get there here on the left side, top left corner. Neat little stutter step to get by Kimball. Kimball back on it now. Still Seguir, has space for the cross with her right boot, headed clear by Yasmin. Jaime is going to drive it from distance, and Ridge will come out and grab it on one hop. Scoreboard clock about to reach the 2-minute mark. We await Mr. Linares' whistle, potentially sanctioning what might be DVC's first point, earned in almost 2 years when they've conceded the first goal of a game. The clock is stopped. Mr. Linares allows a pair of substitutions to take place here. Hunter Wells in for San Joaquin Delta, and Ramos also motioned in for Seguir. Coming off for Wells, I believe, is Estela Rodriguez, who takes the long walk around the field. Throw in for the Mustangs, headed forward and into the middle by Curran. Scannell trying to claim that ball, loose in the midfield, claimed by Mazolewski, rolls this into space for JC to try to get onto it. Claimed instead, though, by, not Piseno, but somebody else there. Sotelo dribbling on it right now, gets by Scannell, works it into the middle. One touch from the Delta defender is Muñiz. She tries to put a long ball over the top, takes one big hop, and McLaughlin will claim it. Vikings moments away from a draw that would do an awful lot for their morale, going toe-to-toe with this team. A beautifully constructed goal, and one that is the result of all their toughness. Long ball is headed forward by Piseno, and there is your final whistle from Mr. Linares today. So the Vikings come from behind for the first time in almost 2 years. They have earned a point here on Vikings Field against a team that was undefeated up until Tuesday, a team that was in first place in the Big Eight up until Tuesday. They moved themselves up to 9 points in the standings. And we'll have to check in on the results from Santa Rosa to see exactly what this means for the Vikings' place in the table. But it's a big result. It ought to do nice things for their power points average. And so we send it to the studio for highlights analysis and those ever-important scores from around the Big Eight. Your big story here, though, DVC 2, Delta 2. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Next Friday, we're checking back in with the 2016 club, who are coming off their first loss of the season after starting 10-0-3 and looking to regroup against Cesar Plasencia's Casumnas River, a team that has already demonstrated an ability to play ruthless defense for 90 minutes and turn one counterattack into a major upset. We'll visit at halftime with the wings of that season's potent offense, Carla Ramos and Cameron Chan. Until then, this is Joe Hickey wishing you sweet, nostalgic dreams of green. See you next time.